Hello, 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 hello. All right. Welcome into the High Noon Rant. Make sure everything's set up here. My name is Pugs Moran, and I do this every day, Monday through Friday, right here on the Radio Misfits podcast and live streaming platform. Everything you need right there on Radio Misfits. Look, I'm just telling you, check out some of this stuff. Might I suggest the Saturday Night Live show? Yeah, I've listened to all those episodes. Those are great. That's Nick DiGilio. He's great. He's great. What else could I suggest? Well, how you into soccer? They got a really cool soccer show. My friend Rick Kempfer, he's part of that. That's a good one. Free Kicks, I believe it's called. Good stuff. Good. By the way, and also this isn't, Radio Misfits. It's not all. The reason it's called Radio Misfits is because none of these people are amateurs. These are all professional broadcasters. These are all, people. Well, I guess technically you could call me a former professional broadcaster, but now I exist here in the world of live streaming. Been doing this for 2.5 years. That's right. Every day, Monday through Friday at 12 noon ish. I've been doing this show, the High Noon Rant. What is it? Well, it's a stream of consciousness. And what's a stream of consciousness? A stream of consciousness is just a long-form extemporaneous speech that is free-flowing and unencumbered by governors or filters or anything like that. Just, talk for 2 hours, go. Now, there are some cheats that I employ during this stream of consciousness, and one of those is that I have an outline. I know topics that I'd like to talk on. I don't have anything scripted or anything like that. And that's why we call it a rant, because they're just little ideas that I have. And then I just rant using a stream of conscious process. And the result is just something just completely unlistenable. I don't know how you people do it, my chat room people. I mean, this is going on 3 years. The most gratuitous exercise in narcissism I think I've ever been a part of, certainly, but I appreciate you allowing me to do it. Hi, Pete. Pete's here. Pete's in the chat room. Chat room is where the fam hangs. So come be a part of the family. Oh, you might be noticing, hey, why is Pugs not drinking with a straw? I know. I'm drinking like it's the 19th century. I got to do it old-timey. Moments before we began the stream today, I was refreshing my soda. It's soda today. It's Coke Zero. I was refreshing my Coke Zero, and my straw fell out of the cup and fell into a dirty dish filled former. It was a bowl. It was a bowl that was filled with chili, and I put it in the sink and it was soaking in water, and so the spoon fell in the chili water, the chili dish water. Or not the spoon, the straw. And I was like, nah, I guess I'm going to have to go strawless. Because, I guess I'm more of a man would have just gone, that's fine. But I didn't really want a chili essence with my Coke Zero today. So that explains that. April's here. Hi, April. We should probably just go ahead and do this now because this show runs on your gratuities. You know that. I mention that all the time. The person who tips the most the day before gets to be the executive producer of the next day's show. And that's going to be April again today. This is a holdover. This is nobody tipped yesterday. That's all right. It's totally cool, man. I get it. Thank you. I appreciate you. You war dogs, man. You guys have been coming through in the last couple of days of the month. So if this is the process that gets that happening, you're the best. So thank you so much, April. You're back in the executive producer chair. If you want to try to be the executive producer for Monday, and it's always nice heading into the weekend with a couple people telling you, hey, I appreciate what you do. If you want to do that, I'll leave that up. How does this show unfold? Well, it isn't just a complete chaotic 2-hour rant. As I said, there are some guardrails that I've put in place. We do the show in 4 quarters, okay? Just like a football game. Easy for us Americans to understand. We do the show like a football game. 4 quarters. First quarter is a segment that we call Antecedently on This Day. What is that? That's this day in history. Come on, man. You've been hearing that on radio shows for 40 years. It's totally different because I made the name fancy. That's all I did. I just took a fancy word. Antecedently on this day. But here's what I do. I cherry pick the events throughout history that have occurred on this day. Not all of them, but the cherry picked ones. And the ones that I think I can rant on. And more importantly, a lot of times lesser known things, like let's discover something new today. Hey, did you know on this day, hillbilly rode a tornado across 3 states. See, that's kind of stuff that maybe we don't know, but these things happen. It's a weird world. That's quarter 1 antecedently on this day. Quarter 2 is birthdays. You know what that is. Quarter 3 is deaths. You know what that is. No, hold your horses. When we go over the list of people who have passed away on this day, that's when we get fun. That's when, here's what we do. We open up their life's resume and we look at it. We go, what did they do? What are they known for? This person died today. Hey, where do you think they went? Heaven or hell? That's what we do. We sit in judgment. You either go to heaven or you go to heaven. Wait. You either go to heaven or you go to hell. And that's quarter 3. Quarter 4, now this is going to be the driving force of McDonald's just sent me a text. McDonald's, they must have something for me today. Maybe a free Filet-O-Fish. I don't know. I love the McDonald's app. I eat McDonald's when I'm not even thinking about eating McDonald's because the McDonald's app goes, hey, if you come by, I'll give you a free Filet-O-Fish right now. And I'm like, don't threaten me with a good time. I'll be there. Quarter 4 of the 4-quarter process here. Quarter 4 is where we do the hot topics, current events, trends, headlines, whatever it is that people are talking about today, because at its essence, that's what this show is. This show is about getting you all prepped up for all the shit people are going to throw at you throughout the day. Hey, did you hear about? Well, I was thinking of people making references to shit, and you're like, I don't even know what he's talking about. If you listen to this show, you'll get all the references your weird coworkers make and, probably be able to add something to the conversation if you're so inclined. That's what the show is. 4 quarters. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Once again, this is all made possible by you guys. 2.5 years now. Every day, Monday through Friday. Too hot for radio. It's not too hot for radio. It's just, here's why this show isn't on the radio. And it might be soon, or not this show, but a variation of it. Just, by the way, don't want to say, I'm not fatalistic at all. As a matter of fact, very optimistic. But here's what we do here that's a little bit different than all the other kinds of current events-driven hot talk that appears on American radio dials from coast to coast. We don't care how you voted. We don't get political. We get political, but the minute people start going, Bob, that's because Hillary Clinton, we shut it down. Or the minute somebody starts going, well, Donald Trump's a criminal, we shut it down. We don't stop it with that stuff. That's what we don't do. We don't traffic in partisan politics. And unfortunately, if you want to actually have a paying job with that good corporate health insurance in this country while working in radio, you got to believe that, Biden's a pedophile. And so we don't do that here. We talk about the world like normal people who aren't trying to start a fight with every stranger they see. That's what we do here because we're not strangers. Chat room is filling up. Al's here. James is here. Hi, Pugs. Says James. Byron is, that's so nice. This is what I love about the chat room. These people, for those newcomers, and there are some newcomers popping in and out lately. I've seen it and we've seen the numbers. The show is growing to an extent, it needs to grow 1,000 times more than it's growing, but it's growing to an extent. And I appreciate that. The new people checking in. For the new people, the bulk of the chat room, these people have been here since day one. These are the pilgrims. These are the pilgrims of this project. And one thing that I don't even have to remind the pilgrims. Anybody new shows up in the chat room, if they're leave them alone, welcome them. You see a new name, hey man, welcome. Be nice to them. And then the minute they start to break into a direction that we don't do in this fucking chat room, kill them, absolutely destroy them. Because if the new listeners are going to come in here and treat this like it's some bad AM station in Toledo, screw you. We don't want that. Byron will be in charge of that. Byron and Adam are my chiefs of security, which is ironic because they would love to turn their guns on each other, but they're my chiefs of security in the chat room. Everybody has a position in my mind. Barney is your cruise director, Julie McCoy. That's cool. Barney, because here's why. Because Barney starts new chats in the chat room. I like that. Like Barney brings up other things. Not all the time, but sometimes, and I like that. So he's like your cruise director. Pete. Well, Pete is your director of entertainment. Pete. And then you got April, she's the house mother. You got Leslie C, who's the cool aunt, right? You got Taronda, who's everybody's little sister. She just pops around for family, get-togethers, and then she disappears fairly early. Anyway, I love my chat people. All right. Is there anything that I need to discuss before we get into what is, I promise, this is an epic, this is going to be a good show today. I had fun putting this show together. There's a bunch of new stuff on Netflix and all that for the weekend. We're going to talk about that at the end of the show. I'll get you prepped up on that. So a bunch of new stuff to watch. I need my boy Edzilla to find a way to make available to me two things that I want to see. And we'll talk about those in the Netflix thing. But if he's listening now, because I know he's a busy man, he pops in and out. Hey, if you could figure out a way, Ed, to for me to be able to watch the MGM Plus epic Paul Simon 2-night 4-hour documentary, I would love to see that. I would love. There's a Paul Simon doc on MGM Plus. But if I'm being honest, I'm not gonna sign up for a new service. I need to find a way. Friend in the industry. I'm in the industry. I'm media. I'm a critic. So I technically, they send me these things. Never. They used to when I was on an actual radio station, but not now. So it's not stealing for me to see this because I'll talk about it. God, this world is just one big con. It's just one big excuse for people to be, I should be able to see that for free because I do a stream where I'll talk about it. Hi, April. April's here. April says she watched the new Roadhouse last night with her boys. She said acting was still rough, but it's a good watch. McGregor steals the movie, of course. Okay, so here's what I would say. That surprises me that she had a criticism of the new Roadhouse movie that premiered on Prime last night. The acting, because Jake Gyllenhaal is a terrific actor, and Jessica Williams is just one of my favorites. She's a sleeper. She is so good in everything. From The Daily Show, she was a great correspondent on The Daily Show, to that show that she's on Apple TV with Harrison Ford and Marshall. No, not Marshall. Who's the dude from How I Met Your Mother? The funny guy, Jason Segel. That's a great show. She's great on that. And Conor McGregor, he's just so charismatic. I can't imagine that he needs to act. Like, is there a moment where Conor McGregor is consoling his cancer-stricken daughter? I don't think there's a moment for. So I'm surprised to learn that she thought that the acting was poor because they seem to have good actors. Now, if the criticism of Roadhouse is that it's a dumb movie, well, yeah, it's a dumb movie. It's magnificently dumb. It's awesome. Dumb is cool sometimes. I am interested. I'm going to watch it this weekend. I'm going to watch it with my son. And I'm going to force him to watch the original Roadhouse, the Swayze Roadhouse, Pine Don't Hurt. I'm going to force him to watch that first. So we're going to do a double feature. We're going to do 3 hours, a good 3 hours of Roadhouse, probably on Saturday night. I'll probably have to invest in a pizza and some like snacks and stuff because he'll be like, all right, but we got to go shopping first. It's one of them kind of things. I'm interested. I want him to see the first one first, and then this because I want him to have the same experience as me. That's kind of a thing with me. Whenever we watch a movie that's been remade, I always make him watch the original first. No, we've got to watch. Dune was the lone exception because at the time I didn't want to watch Dune, the original Dune again. So I'm excited about that. That's what we're going to do this weekend. We're going to watch that. But you know what I've been watching, and I posted about this last night on Twitter. I'm way into it, man. And I was talking about it yesterday, and I just can't believe how fascinated I am by this, how sobering this documentary series is. It's new on Netflix. It's called Turning Point, The Bomb and the Cold War. And, it's been out for a week or two, and I've been looking at it, and I've been going, that seems really dry. I don't know if I'm up for that. And then, I don't know, I just checked it out. I started watching the first episode, and I was like, shit, this ain't really dry at all. This is just freaking fascinating. And I think because of when I grew up, and I think that anybody who grew up, anybody who's Gen X, and they're probably the target for this 4-part series, anybody who's Gen X is going to love this. It's just going to love it because it explains who we are. Gen X has always been the generation that is dismissed as sort of not caring, giving no fucks to give about anything. And I'm telling you, and I tweeted this yesterday, there is no way you can watch this 4-hour turning point, the bomb in the Cold War. There's no way you can watch these and come away with any other understanding of any other belief, but Generation X had no choice but to be naturally dystopian. I mean, it just, all of the stuff that brought back all of the memories, and I know kids today have it really difficult, and my God, as a parent of a kid today, I can tell you, every time the alert scanner goes off, there's another shooting, and then you're like, oh crap, my kid's in school. Oh, geez, it's a scary time. It's a scary time. But man, the memories and the anxiety that is brought back, especially when they get to the 60s and the 70s, about how, because the Cold War started, basically after World War II, actually 1950s, the buildup of, when Russia got the hydrogen bomb, or not the hydrogen bomb, the bomb first. That's when it started. But, and it was all like, let's get the communists out of America. That was the 50s. And then the Bay of Pigs happened. And it became very, very serious, because all of a sudden we're like, oh, wait. We're not the big dog on the block anymore. They can actually point. And that sort of set a tone in this country that rolled right into the 70s, where we were all living at about 30 seconds to midnight. And that's how we were at 5 years old, at 6 years old, at 7 years old, this specter hanging over us at all times of instant evaporation, vaporization. 20 minutes after they tell us the bombs are coming. I mean, that's what shaped an entire generation of Americans. And Gen X had it worse than any of the other generations, because that's our foundation. All the other generations had other things. You talk about your boomers in the 50s and the 60s. Oh, shut up. America was amazing in the 50s. You people weren't worried about being vaporized. They hadn't even built rockets yet. There was no intercontinental ballistic missiles when you guys were fucking around with the hula hoop. I mean, that's not who you are from a very young grade. That's not your earliest influence. For us, Gen X, it was all about the day after and shit like that. Anyway, I highly recommend it. If it's not an uplifting thing, it's sobering, but it is fascinating. The stuff that you learn about what was going on, all of the things that shaped us as Gen Xers. All right, that's it. That's what I'm watching. I think at some point I'm going to have to get up and get my straw. It's been soaking in a dish of water. I don't like drinking like it's, farm times. All right, let's get started. Should we start the rant? Why is the heat still on? Yeah. All right, I'm going to take a quick break. I just got to turn the heat off because I just realized the heat's on. I don't know why the heat is on, because I'm hot. So I'll be right back. It'll just take a minute. I'm going to grab my straw. All right, I got my straw. There we go. I think maybe I should freshen up my soda. Be right back. There we go. Soda has been refilled. Rant to begin momentarily. Hang with me, my people. I'm not calling you. Oh, the dog thinks I'm calling her. Here she comes. Go back to bed. Come on. All right. Sorry about that. Rant to begin shortly. Hi, Chuck. Chuckles in the chat room, ladies and gentlemen. A big hearty Friday welcome to Chuckles. Fat man breathing hard into a microphone. That's what you tune in for. All right, folks. Hi, Pete. I just always say hi to the person at the top of the chat for any given reason. I don't know. I just feel like it's a way for me to connect. All right, let's get started. It's the High Noon Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. Welcome to it. It is the 22nd day of the month of March. Year of our Lord, 2024. March 22nd is the 81st day of the year, or 82 in leap years, and that's what we're in. So it's the 82nd day of the year. 284 more of these till the end of the year. Or two, I don't know. Fucking leap year, man. It's just... I don't even know. Like, is it... I'm not doing math. This is a stupid thing. It's a fun fact about how many days are left in the year, but it's all screwed because of leap year this year, so I don't know. Moving on. Let's get started with the very first quarter of this show. We call it Antecedently on This Day. It's where we take a look back at the events that have helped shape our understanding of this very day. Why? Because it's a bettor's market, people. And we're all looking for an edge. We're looking for rhythms. We're looking for patterns. We're looking for things that happened on this day that happened multiple times throughout the years. Tornadoes, terror events. Yeah, just stuff. You're crazy. I know you think, Pugs, that's crazy. No, there are patterns. All right, let's get started. Antecedently on this day in the year 1621. Oh, this is a beautiful moment for the white man. 1621, the Pilgrims of Plymouth Colony sign a peace treaty with the Missouri, a native tribe. I can't pronounce the name. It's, you know how I am with these weird, unfamiliar letter combinations. Massasoit. So I bet you that's the tribe that Massachusetts is named after. I'm just guessing. So on this day in 1621, the Pilgrims made peace with the natives. It was beautiful. It was a great thing on this day in 1621. On this day in 1622, 1 year later, the Jamestown Massacre. Algonquin natives killed 347 English settlers around Jamestown, Virginia. Maybe if a year earlier they had made the deal that the people up at Plymouth Colony had made, they wouldn't have had to go through what is now known historically as the Jamestown Massacre. I don't know why I applauded for that. Antecedently on this day in 1794, the Slave Trade Act of 1790. What are you doing? I'm sorry, the dog is driving me nuts. Hold on. What are you doing? Go to bed, man. There ain't nothing happening out here for you. Go to bed. Go lay down. Look at her. She's just doing that weird dog thing where she... Oh, well, she's paying me no mind. She's going to stop staring at me. Go to bed. No, that didn't mean come here. Okay, that wasn't... How old are you? You're 3 years old. You can't even pick up a little bit of English. You don't even know that go to bed means... Antecedently on this day, 1794, the slave trade. I don't care that you're staring at me and now you're just like 2 feet from me. Go away, baby. Come on. You're breaking my stream. This is the dog's fault. Hate on the dog. If you're mad about how distracted there you go. Oh, what? That food's not good enough for you? She just did that thing where she sticks her nose in her food bowl and just knocks some of it around and then walks away in disgust. What do you want, lobster? What do you want, pheasant under glass? Oh, now she's standing at the back door like it's time to go out when she knows it's not time to go out. And you know I know this because she's been out all morning. Go lay down. Go lay down. She's just being a bitch, which is what she is technically. I'm not name calling. She's a female dog. Back to this. The Slave Trade Act of 1794, it banned all export of slaves from the United States, and it prohibited American citizens from building ships for the purpose of transporting slaves. This was an initiative of George Washington, a slave owner himself, who I guess wanted to keep them all for himself. But what this does is it speaks to the mindset of this time. Said, don't you even start growling. Go lay down. If you didn't poop or whatever a million times when you had the chance earlier today, this is how I talk to my dog. I speak to her in full sentences, like she's a coworker. Guys, I gotta let her out. I can't take the risk. I got the kid coming this weekend. Hold on. Oh, you're such a bad animal. This is so out of nature for you. You are usually so good during this stream. Ah. Trying to talk about slavery. Oh my God. Oh geez, I hate this. There's a reason that she's kept indoors during the stream. It's because she's trouble. She's the best. She's the best, but she's trouble. She's a very high maintenance animal. She's essentially like living with a wild animal. She's really smart. And not only is she really smart, but she don't give a fuck. Like, she does what she wants all the time. Even though she knows she gets in trouble, she has her little punishment corner. I point to a corner on the deck, and she has to just sit there and stare at a fence, and she'll do it. She knows it's her bad corner. It's her bad girl corner. But she don't care. She'll still do the bad thing. Apparently, the bad girl corner isn't all that distressing to her. She's like, fine, I kind of like the bad girl corner. I'll go sit there. I'll look at the other people's yard. All right. What were we talking about? We're talking about the slavery. So in 1794, George Washington knew that slavery was wrong. So this is that interesting defense that you hear sometimes from folks that aren't really being all that thoughtful on the issue, but where they go, it was just the way it was back then. No. People knew enslaving men was wrong. They knew that, and George Washington knew it, and they did everything in their power to try and look. They weren't going to say we're going to get rid of slaves in 1794 because that's what this country was being built by, but there was some degree of maybe this isn't something that we ought to be, promoting or exploiting to other nations. So they made a law. Couldn't build slave ships. No ships could be built in America, and you also couldn't send them out. Like, you couldn't start a business in America where you were selling people to other countries. You could start a business in America where you're selling slaves to other people. That was totally fine as long as they were American people. But that's interesting. 1794, the Slave Trade Act. On this day in 1894, the Stanley Cup. First time the Stanley Cup was ever played, on this day in 1894, which is interesting because on this day in 1934, it's the first time the Masters was played. Rhythms, patterns. Maybe there's some stupid event that is being held for the first time today that in 100 years will be like the Stanley Cup or the Masters. Who knows? On this day, in 1963, the Beatles released their debut album, Please Please Me. Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles have entered the chat on this day in 1963. All right, now I'm a big Beatles fan. I love the Beatles. I don't know, how do you explain it? I just like the music. Please Please Me is one of my favorite Beatles songs. And it's one of my favorite Beatles songs because for years, it just, nobody read the lyrics. See, the Beatles have a number of songs. They were so prolific. And honestly, man, Lennon and McCartney had a way with turning a phrase. But sometimes they were hitting you right on the nose with a message and you just weren't getting it. Because how did this song get played on radio? You know how over censor-based, music was back then. You can't play that because they mentioned Jesus, something like that, and you get the song banned from coast to coast. I don't know how the Beatles' Please Please Me made it. Please Please Me is a blowjob song. Please Please Me is Paul, I believe, complaining to his girlfriend that he always goes down on her, but she never goes down on him. And it's right there in the lyrics, and absolutely nobody ever paid attention to it. So let's go through the lyrics, a little lyrical litigation. We like to do this from time to time. Wait, I'll also give the example of Run for Your Life, which is an all-time banger of a Beatles song. It's really cool. But I'll never forget a band that I was managing back in the 90s covered Run for Your Life. They did a real stripped down, sped up, kind of garage punk version of Run for Your Life, the Beatles song. And I'll never forget the singer, Brian. He stopped. He goes, hey, man, anybody ever listen to the lyrics of this song? Run From Your Life is basically a stalker song. It's John Lennon telling his girlfriend that if he even gets a whiff that she's talking to another man, not hooking up, not cheating on him, but if he ever gets a whiff, she better run for her life because he's going to murder her if he catches her with another man. That's the song. And then he tags it with a little girl. So you think that it's not even a woman. It could be just like a 15-year-old girl that he's threatening to murder. It's a weird song. It's an all-time banger, though. It's really great. It's good song. It lends itself to heavy rock interpretations. It's got a good catchy hook. Anyway, let's do Please Please Me. So Please Please Me starts out with a really cool harmonica riff. I won't play it, but it's wah 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 bum 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 wah 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 bum 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 wah 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 me, oh yeah. Okay, so that's the song. If you're unfamiliar. That's how it goes. Now let's listen to the lyrics of this song. It's the Beatles' blowjob song. Last night, I said these words to my girl. I know you never even try, girl. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Please, please me the way that I please you. All right? You don't need me to show the way, love. Why do I always have to say, love? Why does he always got to ask for it? Why does he always got to ask for a blowjob? He's willing to do it to her all the time, but why does he always have to ask for it? Please, please me. Oh, yeah, like I please you. You don't need me to show you the way, love. Why do I always have to say, love? Come on, come on, come on, come on, please, please me, whoa, yeah, like I please you. And then it goes on, next verse. I don't want to sound complaining, but you know there's always rain in my heart. I do all the pleasing for you. It's so hard to reason with you. Whoa, yeah, why do you make me so blue? He's got blue balls, ladies and gentlemen. He's saying, come on, literally, come on. Please, please me the way I please you. That's the Beatles on this day, 1963. Their blowjob song that absolutely nobody ever, mentions. And it's just so obvious. Thank you. I love the Beatles. I love the Beatles lyrics. You can break down a lot of their lyrics and go to a lot of fun places, especially when they started doing drugs. Antecedently on this day in 1972, Eisenstadt versus Baird in the United States Supreme Court, it decided that unmarried people in America can now legally purchase contraception. Oh, whoa. People just accepted that. 1965, a single dude couldn't buy a rubber, or a single girl couldn't get the pill. You had to be married. What the fuck kind of rule is that? In America? Jesus. In 1972. Jesus, I was 3 years old when we were still living. I mean, did we even have attached bathrooms back? Yes, of course we did. 1978, antecedently on this day, Carl Wallenda of the Flying Wallenda dies after falling off a tightrope suspended between two hotels in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Carl Wallenda was walking a tightrope between two hotels. And you know what happened? What happened was exactly what was supposed to happen. Every time, the whole reason people are like, that's crazy, how does he do that? Is because he's supposed to fall. People who witnessed this witnessed the ultimate performance. On this day in 2019, special counsel investigation. The Mueller report came out today on this day in 2019. And to be honest, I think that like for 3 years, it was like, when's it coming? It was taking forever. It's like, how long is this going to take? And now it's been out for I don't even remember what it said. There's been so many different partisan interpretations of that damn thing. I have no idea what that is. So whatever, but it happened on this day. Hey, remember, folks? We were all around. On this day in 2021, 10 people are killed in a mass shooting at a Boulder, Colorado grocery store. I remember this one. I remember watching this one unfold. It happened in the evening. It looked like a nice little ski resort town grocery store shrouded, on a mountainside with a parking. It looked cool. It was cool. And I'm like, man, that place looks awesome. And they had a shooting. It was on this day. No, wait, no, we don't do that. We don't do that. All right, Q2 folks' birthdays. They say it's their birthday, but who am I to judge? I'm not going to do the background check to find out if this is, in fact, the day these individuals were born. Let's get started. Claiming today to be his birthday. Well, not in 60 years because he's been dead a while. Born on this day in 1887, Chico Marx. Chico Marx, the Marx Brothers. I love the Marx Brothers. There's a lot of Marx Brothers. People forget about Zeppo and Gummo. Zeppo and Gummo were a couple of Marx Brothers that just kind of, popped in and out of the act. The act was Groucho, Chico, and Harpo. And typically in the act, Chico was scheming with Harpo. Like it was always Groucho had the idea, and then Harpo and Chico had to carry out the idea, and they fucked it up. And that's just basically the thing. Also, the interesting thing about Chico's character, they all had the Marx Brothers. I don't want to get all lame, like deconstructing classic comedy is so cutting edge. Well, look, I'm a fan of it, so I'm a bit of a dork. But the Marx Brothers all represented different targets for social parody in their time, especially if you take the main three, which is Groucho, Harpo, and Chico. Groucho was the elitist, the intellectual who was telling you how everything was supposed to be, but he was a fool and he was a con man and he was an obvious shyster. That was the social parody, the social target that character in that act for that time was all about. Harpo. Now, again, it's that time, okay? So we don't do this anymore. But Harpo was the special needs one. It was okay to make fun of, people who were mentally retarded back then. It was okay to make fun of, people who had disabilities and all that. That's who Harpo represented. Chico, the guy whose birthday it is today, Chico Marx, he was the immigrant. He was the immigrant that nobody wanted to hire, that nobody wanted to, because the immigrant class back in the turn of the century and vaudeville and all that was a target for satire and derision and all that kind of stuff. So that's who Chico played. Chico played the Italian immigrant, mostly Italian. They weren't sure. He would never admit to what the made-up accent was, but I always thought that was interesting about how they became so popular, because they allowed all of the people that the audience wanted to hate to appear on stage at one time. the handicapped, who for some reason people back then wanted to hate. I don't know. People would just have always been awful. The immigrant class and the intellectual elite leader who's just full of shit and an obvious con man. That was Groucho. Happy birthday on this day, Chico Marx. Born on this day in 1931, William Shatner. Who doesn't like the Shat? I'll tell you who didn't like the Shat. Everybody for the first 25 years of his career. He was like the most hated person in Hollywood. He was a jerk. When he was riding high as Captain Kirk and that show got canceled and he started strutting around Hollywood, he made a lot of enemies. Leonard Nimoy hates him. I mean, all the people who, I guess they reconciled and became friends towards the end of Leonard's life, but whatever. Well, why did that have to happen? Why did Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner have to fucking reconcile? They weren't Lennon and McCartney. They were just two dudes who were cast to play a role on a show that, incidentally, nobody watched in its time. It was only on for 3 years. They kept trying to keep it alive, but Star Trek was not a blockbuster hit on TV. That's why it just went away. It became a cult classic. Became very big in reruns. Became very big, in the late 80s when they started going, let's make a movie. So, and that's not the thing. Star Trek is a massive franchise. But let's not pretend that the original Star Trek TV show was a massive hit. It wasn't. It wasn't. Otherwise, it would have run for 10 years. Anyway, William Shatner, born on this day. He spent the first 25 years of his career with everybody hating him, and then suddenly he goes on that Boston Public show as that Denny guy, and everybody loves him. And everybody has loved him since. Everybody loves William Shatner so much that he could live under the cloud of suspicion that he had something to do with the death of his wife for decades, and nobody cares. I'm telling you, that's Robert Wagner level appreciation from the American public. Because Robert Wagner is another guy who I love, by the way. I love Robert Wagner. But Robert Wagner's another guy who probably had something to do with the death of his wife, and we're just like, that's okay. She was probably a bitch. That's not me speaking. That's just me. That's the voice of America coming out. Born on this day in 1935. Isn't this a kick in the nuts? Born on this day in 1935, M. Emmett Walsh. Why is this a kick in the nuts? Because just yesterday we announced his passing. Yeah, he died. M. Emmett Walsh. He died yesterday. He's one of these guys who were like, hey, here's some story. Here's a news story from today. M. Emmett Walsh died. The dude from Blade Runner, the dude from Blood Simple. He's great. He was a great character actor. Well, today's his birthday. Happy birthday. Man, he's not even in the ground yet. He's not. He's still like on a slab somewhere, and it's his birthday. Born on this day in 1948, Wolf Blitzer. Wolf Blitzer. Let me tell you something. I've kind of come around on Wolf Blitzer. I hated Wolf Blitzer for 20 years. I just thought he was a relic style news guy from a different era. He was boring. His questions weren't. He didn't ask good questions. Like he didn't do exciting or interesting news television. He didn't. And for that reason, I was like, yeah, I don't like him. But now it's like, man, in the last couple of years, I'm like, Wolf Blitzer seems to be like a guy who maybe that boring style, maybe that's what we need now with all the Jesse Waters and the Jim Acostas. And, how about just a boring ass Wolf Blitzer? Happy birthday, boring ass Wolf Blitzer. Hear the dog? Dog's being a jerk right now. Dog's being a jerk. She's barking at stuff. That's going to get the police here, and it's going to be a fist fight on the live stream because it's America, and if my dog wants to bark, start screaming about some amendment to the Constitution that I know nothing about. Fourth Amendment guarantees me the right to have a barking dog, something like that, and then I'm dead. Stay tuned for that because this stream could get wild if the dog keeps barking. Oh, here's a funny story. So remember yesterday when I told you President Biden came through the neighborhood and they had the big cavalcade down Armstrong Avenue? It was all very exciting. Well, I was hanging out with all the Dallas police. And it's near the Dallas police. Like I was standing on the corner. There was a cop on every corner. And they're standing in their car and their car's jackknifed and the door's open and the cops are standing outside. Stand back behind the street signs. That kind of thing. But I heard the Dallas cops talking shit on the Highland Park cops, and it was awesome. They were making fun of the Highland Park cops. Like they had cleared the street. The street was completely cleared. They're all barricaded Armstrong Avenue. And so no traffic, no through traffic. And it had been that way for about 10 minutes. There were no through traffic. Biden was coming any minute. And all of a sudden, coming from the other direction, there is a Highland Park police car. Like a squad, an SUV, and it just comes rolling down Armstrong, just disregarding all this shit. And as it passed by the Dallas cop, the Dallas cop shouted across the street to the other Dallas cop, "Hey, tell them HP dorks we don't need them." And I just thought it was funny. It was like, that's cool. Anyway, moving on. All right. Guys, I gotta go get the dog. We're gonna get into more birthdays in a moment, but I gotta grab the damn dog because, quite frankly, she's either gonna dig a hole. It's too much time for her to be left unwatched in the backyard. She's gonna dig a hole under the fence. She's probably already working on that. Gonna have to use cookies as bait. A cookie, baby. Oh, yeah. Cookie time. Cookie. There you go, baby. Good girl. Thank you, baby. Good girl. All right. She wasn't a problem. She was cool. She was like, "Oh, you got a cookie? All right, I'll come get a cookie." I buy those when I go to the Kroger in their cookie aisle. They got these like really cheap ghetto cookies. They're like oatmeal frosted. They're only like $1 for like a thing. But I always pick those up because she can't be lured with dog treats anymore. I don't know. She's like, that tastes like pork. That tastes like granulated sawdust pork. That's what you're handing me. Can I have a cookie? So now it's all about cookies. So every time I go, I pick up one of those things for $1. Just for emergencies like that. Like if she's in the backyard and she will not listen to me, all I got to do is bring the cookies out. And she's like, "Oh, okay. Cookie time." All right. Birthdays. Wolf Blitzer, we talked about him. Andrew Lloyd Webber, born on this day in 1948. Whatever. He's somebody. I don't know who he is, right? Isn't he a singer-dancer or like a producer of singer-dancer stuff? I don't know. Cats. Let me just throw that out there. Cats, maybe. Andrew Lloyd Webber, born on this day. Born on this day in 1952. Bob Costas. Ooh, I like Costas. Costas is steady. Costas has always been there. Bob Costas. Born on this day in 1952. What'd you do? The dog just walked over a cord, and suddenly one of my lights started to flicker. Moving on. Born on this day in 1960, one of my all-time favorites from my childhood. We're going to throw a little love to Jim Covert. Jim Covert. Born on this day in 1969. I got to be honest with you, I don't know who the hell Jim Covert is. I know who Jimbo Covert is. I know Jimbo. 1985 Chicago Bear. I'm going to go ahead and declare it right now because I can't come up with anybody else. Jimbo Covert, greatest offensive tackle in the history of the Chicago Bears. Yep. So I'm going to go with that. Dude, there's no such thing as a football-oriented Hall of Fame that doesn't have a slot for Big Jimbo Covert. Let's see here. Oh, born on this day in 1969. Here's another one, another little football birthday for those of us here in Dallas and for my friends in Chicago. Because if you're like me, my buddies, and the only people in Chicago, a lot of people in Chicago who listen are my friends from high school. Remember this dude. We remember this dude in high school. And you in Dallas, you remember this dude in Super Bowls. But holy shit. Happy birthday, Russell Maryland. Russell Maryland, man. Born on this day in 1969. He was my age in high school. And we didn't play in the same conference. He went to Whitney Young. But we, when you were a high school kid my age, you heard the stories of Russell Maryland. He was always like the number one rated player in Illinois and all that stuff. Interesting about Russell Maryland, didn't get recruited by anybody. One school, only one school saw Russell Maryland in high school just be this dominant freak show. He's only one school. And I'm telling you, if in the 1980s, when only one school shows interest and that school is the U, you take that. You take that. So the only school that saw what Russell Maryland was and could become was the University of Miami. All right. There you go. Russell Maryland. Where did Russell Maryland, was he number one? Did Russell Maryland guy? Let me see. I think he did. No, was he? Let's see. Career. Let's see. Wow, he was. I knew he was. I guess I forgot that. Russell Maryland, number one overall draft pick in 1991, round one, pick one, NFL draft. All right, that dude was a beast. That dude was a beast. There's a number of these dudes that were in high school at the same time as me or relatively after that when I was still interested in Chicago Public League sports and, Illinois high school football and all that kind of stuff, which by the way, now that I'm here in Texas, I kind of chuckle at how cute the whole system in Illinois is. Isn't that darling? That ain't how we do it in Texas, but it's cute for you people. I mean, that's how I feel now. But shit, Russell Maryland. Oh my God. Kevin Garnett, Marcus Liberty, Kendall Gill, Nick Anderson. I mean, all of these guys, man, were playing Illinois Chicago League public high school basketball when I was in high school. All right. There was a time. Ben Wilson. Remember Ben Wilson when he got killed? It's like, you can't kill like a high school superstar. Yeah, they did. They figured out. All right, moving on. High school memories. Moving on. Born on this day in 1972, a big drink of water who had a cup of coffee here with the Dallas Mavericks. How about big old Sean Bradley? Big, giant, white Mormon guy. Born on this day in 1972, sharing a womb, metaphorically anyway, with Sean Bradley. How about Corey Liddell? Corey Liddell, I mentioned because this is Corey Liddell was a very good pitcher for the New York Yankees. And he died. He died. When did he die? 2006. Corey Liddell on an off day. There were no Yankee game. He decided to go flying. So he took his plane. He was flying it around Manhattan, and he crashed into a building and died. Crashed into like an apartment building. Born on this day in 1975. I love this guy. I love this guy because, man, you want an example of what acting is. You want an example of how you can create a character and you can dupe the masses with it. This guy's doing just that, and I admire the hell out of him. I think he's super cool. I like him in everything. I mean, he's been in things for years and years, and I'm always like, that dude's cool. I like this guy. But he ain't what people think he is, which is just so hysterical. Because he's an iconic character in modern American television. Happy birthday to Cole Hauser, the awesome Cole Hauser, who plays the awesome Rip Wheeler on Yellowstone. He's Rip. He's so badass. Rip is like the coolest character on TV. I love Rip. Here's why I say that. It's just a testament to what a great actor is. Because Rip Wheeler is the iconic rural American man's man. He's John Wayne, Gary Cooper, Sly Stallone, whatever you want to put that. He's all of that in a cowboy hat, who kick your ass in a bar if you say something cross to his woman. That's who Rip Wheeler is. Rip Wheeler is badass. Rip Wheeler is who, on some level, I think most Americans look at, most American men, and they're like, yeah, we all could use a little bit more Rip Wheeler in us. He's awesome. Cole Hauser, not so much. Cole Hauser is about as Hollywood royalty as it gets. Grew up in Malibu. His mom, first of all, let's talk about his grandpa. His grandpa is Harry Warner, one of the Warner brothers. I don't know if you've ever heard of Warner Brothers, but that's his grandpa. His mother ran the production company Warner Sisters, which was a offshoot of Warner Brothers that was very successful in the 60s and 70s. His dad is Wings Hauser, who's an actor. Rip Wheeler is a character. Cole Hauser is a Hollywood liberal lefty elite, and always has been. A Nepo baby. One of the great examples of what a Nepo baby is today. And if all of a sudden you don't like him now, shut up, stop it, man. Rip Wheeler's cool as shit. And Yellowstone's a great show. You need to be able to deal with the fact that these are actors. I love that dude. I love Cole Hauser. Remember him in Dazed and Confused as like the asshole with the paddle? What was his character's name? I forgot his character's name, but he was great in that too. As just the big high school bully who was just really getting off weirdly on the punishment of these freshmen. Really wanted to see some freshman ass turn red. That guy, he was awesome. Cole Hauser, happy birthday. Who doesn't love him? April says, oh, wow, didn't know Cole Hauser's family tree. Yeah, I know. He's a really good actor, man, because he's a very fancy boy. He is a fancy Hollywood boy. And he plays that character of Rip Wheeler. Awesome. I love Rip Wheeler. I love him. It doesn't bother me. Why would that bother me? I don't care. Fuck. Makes me mad. But look, guys, if you listen to the show, whenever we talk about Hollywood celebrities and these people that we fawn over and adore, I always tell you, very rare occasion are they like us at all. At all. The Hollywood stars that we all know, that we all love, I would say a good 90% of them, 9 out of 10 of them, 9 out of 10 of them come from a situation where they couldn't fail in Hollywood. Either it's because their aunt is Robert De Niro, or their aunt, whatever. I don't know, trans people. Whether they're, you know what I mean? Their aunt is Meryl Streep, but they have a different name. Or their dad runs a studio. I mean, all of these people, and even to a lesser extent, like a couple of people that I know from growing up, from my area growing up, who went on to Hollywood and became sort of famous. Most notable among them is Robin Tunney. We're all very proud in our neighborhood of Robin Tunney. She would go on to star in a whole bunch of things, from The Craft to, she had a bunch of shows. She was a rich chick. Her dad, when she moved to Hollywood, her dad put her up in like a really nice condo that was close to the studios. She didn't have to work. She didn't have to wait tables. None of that stuff. And that's the case for most of the people who make it in Hollywood. So don't be mad at Cole Hauser because his parents ran Warner Brothers. Just accept that that's the way it is. It's a company town out there. Do you get mad at the kid who becomes foreman at the steel plant because his dad used to run the plant? No, it's family business. It's a company town. That's how it works. Reese Witherspoon, born on this day in 1976. She's adorable. I got no hatred for her. Although, doesn't she have a bad DUI tape? I want it to be true. I want it to be true. I think it is true. I think it is. I'm starting to remember it. Reese Witherspoon has a bad DUI tape. like where she's being an absolute Hollywood bitch to the cops and all that. That tracks though, because there's no way. There's Reese Witherspoon in her public persona is Reese Witherspoon, right? So I gotta imagine that there's another side to that after she's had a couple of cocktails, and her boyfriend gets pulled over for weaving. You know, I don't know. Whatever. Happy birthday, Reese Witherspoon. I still like you. I do. I like you. I separate the art from the artist. Your art brings me joy with your optimism and your happiness and your smile. Happy birthday, Reese Witherspoon. Born on this day in 1989. How about a big hearty happy birthday to one of the great men of the NFL's modern era, J.J. Watt. I love J.J. Watt. That's a good dude. He's a good dude. I know we got the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, but I could easily see in about 20 years that thing being renamed the J.J. Watt or, you know, something like that, or them coming up with something else, because that dude does a lot of work for people. He does a lot of shit. Like stuff that, like, you know, most pro athletes don't do when they're done. Like he hangs out in hospital sick wards and he donates to like people in the community. I know a lot of people do that, but JJ Watt, there was a story I read and it was an investigative piece. And it had to have been an investigative piece because JJ Watt doesn't report or promote all this stuff, but it talked about all of the shit. This is when he was retiring. It talked about all the shit that he does secretly and through not made up, but like, you know, charities that don't bear his name or anything to him, but he funds them. JJ Watt's a good human being. Just saying. You might hate him because he played for the other team or whatever. Hey, that's football, but I think JJ Watt's going into politics, quite frankly. That's what I think. I think he's probably going to go that direction. Happy birthday, JJ Watt. That's Q2 in the books. It's now time to talk about the people who have died on this day. Hi, Bill. Bill's chiming in the chat room. Bill says, yeah, she got a DUI in Atlanta, and she was a bit difficult. Talking about Reese Witherspoon. Yeah, probably. Look, I was married to a woman who could be difficult. Still loved her. Still knew that she was a good person. But one of my wives took no shit from anyone ever. And it's like, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it is cool. And maybe that's what Reese Witherspoon was going through. I don't know. All right, let's move on. These are the people who've died on this day. Dead on this day in 1958, American film producer Michael Todd. I mentioned Mike Todd, dead on this day in 1958. He was married to Elizabeth Taylor at the time of his death. Died in a plane crash. He was a big-time producer. He died in a plane crash. He holds the distinction of being the only of Elizabeth Taylor's 8 marriages to not end in divorce. Lucky him. Because that marriage ended with his death. And it's a great Hollywood story about what happened here. So Elizabeth Taylor and Michael Todd, they were married. And their closest couple friend, you know, couples have couple friends. Their closest couple friend was Debbie Reynolds and Eddie Fisher. And when Michael Todd died, of course, it was the closest couple friend who closed ranks. And when Michael Todd died, Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds just ran to their friend Elizabeth's bedside. Oh, poor Liz. Oh. Eddie Fisher and Liz Taylor hooked up during this time behind Debbie Reynolds' back. And then it wasn't just a one-time thing. Then very publicly started to, Elizabeth Taylor leveraged her period of mourning or whatever to destroy her best friend's marriage. And then how crazy is that? That's Hollywood. These people suck. What up, Byron? Where'd you go? I mean, I'm glad that you're back, but you know, I hope you're not. I didn't see that you had left. Dead on this day in 1994. How about Dan Hartman, American singer, songwriter, and producer? Boom, 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 boom. Remember, that's the only Dan. I can dream about you. That's the only. If I can hold you tonight. What was that from? That was from that cool ass movie. Any of my Gen X people remember Streets of Fire? Yeah. I don't know what the fuck was going on with that movie. It was like the 1950s, but also the future. Anyway, the theme song was the Dan Hartman song. I can dream about you. He died on this day. Where we put, Michael Todd. I'm sorry, we didn't sentence Michael Todd. We're sentencing him to hell. That's right. That's what we do here with the deaths. He's going to hell because he was a film producer. That's kind of like football coaches. They just have to go to hell. Dan Hartman, I can dream about. We're going to put him in heaven. You know why? You know why we're putting Dan Hartman in heaven? Because I didn't really have a take on Dan Hartman until this morning. And I saw that he had died. And then I went, what the fucking song did he do? What did Dan Hartman do? And then so I said, Dan Hartman song. And the Streets of Fire theme came up. Moving side. And I'm like, oh, I like this song. And, you know, like about 9:45 this morning, I'm laying in the other room going, I can dream about you. All-time banger, I guess I'm saying. I mean, very generic 80s. Very, like, nothing special about it. But it was a huge hit, that song. So let's put Dan Hartman in heaven because it brought back memories that made me smile. So that's the only criteria in this moment that I can use because I don't know anything about Dan Hartman. Anyway, the movie Streets of Fire. I think it was Diane Lane, right? Was it Michael Pere and Diane Lane? Oh, man. And it was set, again, it was weird. I got to watch that movie again. I don't even know what it was about. They had like 1950s cars and motorcycles, but they shot laser guns and had flying taxis. I don't know what the hell was going on in that film, Streets of Fire, but I'm going to check it out. Weird ass movie. Byron. Oh, good thoughts for Byron. Good thoughts for Byron. He had to do some heavy dad lifting. Heavy dad lifting, buddy. Yeah, that sucks, bro. I'm sorry. All right. Not to be dismissive, but I'm in the middle of a stream here, and I really don't want to go into that topic because it's kind of a bummer, and I'm sorry you have to go through it. My love to the Byron kid. Let's see here. Also, dead on this day, Walter Lance preemptively. He's going to heaven. He created Woody Woodpecker. That dude's going to heaven. Woody Woodpecker, man, was up to some shit. Woody Woodpecker had an edge. It was like Walter Lance looked at Bugs Bunny, and he went, yeah. People like Bugs Bunny because he's not trustworthy. And, you know, he'll scam you. He goes, what if I took Bugs Bunny, but also made that character absolutely psychotic? Woody Woodpecker was psychotic, and Walter Lance created that, and I loved Woody Woodpecker. Woody Woodpecker was my favorite of the cartoons when I was, 8, 9, 10, when your favorite cartoons is a very important thing in your life. I would say that Woody Woodpecker was my favorite. I always loved Bugs, but man, I gave the edge just a little bit to Woody Woodpecker. Walter Lance died on this day in 1994. Now, how can this be? Dead on this day in 2001. We just talked about Walter Lance, one of America's great animators, creator of Woody Woodpecker and a whole bunch of Chili Willy, all of that stuff. He was great. Walter Lance died on this day. We just put him in heaven. Dead on this day in 2001, William Hanna, also going to heaven. Hanna-Barbera? See, this is what I say when there are just weird rhythms, weird patterns. I don't know what to make of them, but this is why we go through these lists. On the very same day, two of America's most exalted animators passed away. That's weird, no? It's a little weird. William Hanna, Hanna-Barbera. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la. That's Banana Splits. I love the Banana Splits. I would say Banana Splits was, for a period of time, my favorite show. I love Banana Splits. It's the only place I'm getting my Squiddly Diddly and my Megala Gorilla. Right? Weren't those on the Banana Splits? How about on the Banana? William Hanna, we're talking about. He died on this day in 2001. How about? Do you remember there was like the Banana Splits? Again, I don't know what was going on there. They're just like these monsters that all live together, and I don't know. Are they aware that they're performing a kids show, or are we just eavesdropping on the way they interact with each other? Because it was madness. There was a lot of influence from the Banana Splits on Pee-wee's Playhouse. If you're a big fan of Pee-wee's Playhouse, that you can tether right directly to it. Pee-wee was a huge Banana Splits guy. But the banana splits would like throw it to cartoons, like a lot of the shows back then did with their live action stuff. They'd throw it suddenly to a cartoon, and they had cool cartoons. I think it was Magilla Gorilla and stuff on that. But they also threw it to live action stuff. Like, do you remember the family that lived in the jungle and they had to deal with this cat named Django? I don't have any other context for it other than on this series, I always looked forward to somebody yelling, "Uh-oh, Django!" And then like this like jungle person would swing from and this was live action. This wasn't a cartoon. This person would swing from a vine and crash into a tree. No, I don't think I think that was George of the Jungle who crashed into a tree. That was an animated thing, and I'm conflating the two. But I don't know. I don't know what was going on with Django. There's a bunch of white people who were stranded in the jungle, and they made friends with Django, who swung from... Again, banana splits, man. On this day, William Hanna, the guy who created all that weirdness, he died in 2001. We're putting him in heaven. Anybody who's that bizarre? Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have? Dead on this day. Oh, 1999. Dead on this day. Did I skip over this? How did I skip over that? David Strickland. David Strickland died on this day. Young actor. He hit TV show. Hit. I say that because whatever. Wasn't really a hit show. He was the star of a show that got more chances than any other show in the history of television simply because the lead was Brooke Shields. And they were just certain at NBC that Brooke Shields could carry a sitcom. And, the vaulted Thursday night prime lineup, they stuck her in there. Suddenly Susan. Talking about that show, Suddenly Susan. I never watched it. It just looked stupid. Suddenly Susan, one of the co-stars was David Strickland. He went to Las Vegas for a weekend with his good buddy Andy Dick, and only one came back. That's right. David Strickland went to Vegas with Andy Dick, and they spent a weekend just binging all kinds of drugs and going from strip club to strip club. And one night, David Strickland went back to his own room. They were in like a seedy hotel too. I mean, leave it to Andy Dick. You guys are on TV shows. Why are you guys staying at like a Motel 6 5 miles off the strip? What? You guys are TV stars. Anyway. So he goes back to his seedy ass hotel room and orders a prostitute, downs a bottle of Jack Daniels, and then kills himself. He hangs himself. David Strickland. Tortured guy. He was obvious. He had problems. Look, just because your career's going great and you're friends with Brooke Shields and you're partying with Andy Dick, well, maybe partying with Andy Dick is a reason to take your life. I don't know. I'm going to put him in heaven, though. I'm going to put him in heaven. It's a sad story. I'm just going to put him in heaven. I don't know if he was a terrible person, although he was friends with Andy Dick. You know what? Sorry, David. I've changed my mind. You're friends with Andy Dick. I hate Andy Dick. We banned Andy Dick from the radio station in Chicago because he was such a D-bag. Ugh. And I'm a fan of the Ben Stiller show. I thought that Andy Dick was brilliant on the Ben Stiller show, and then nothing. Then he never did anything except probably unnecessarily and maybe even inadvertently contribute to the death of David Strickland. All right, moving on. Dead on this day in 2016, North America's favorite mayor, Rob Ford. Rob Ford, remember him? He was the mayor. This is such a weird thing. Rob Ford was the mayor of Toronto who got caught smoking crack, and he became a big joke in America. And not so much in Toronto, because I guess they put him in power again. Like he lost his job and then he went back. And so that's Rob Ford. And then he started going around and doing TV. He became a bit of a twisted cause celeb. I don't know. He was famous for being the mayor that smoked crack, and for being fat and for being funny. That's what he was. He was big fat. Say funny things. And, people liked him. People took to him. And then he died. Like, he died suddenly, very young. In a weird way. Weren't we all like, well, can you believe that? Oh my God, he's dead. Can you believe Rob Ford? It was kind of shocking that he died. And now here I sit going, why were we shocked? That guy was out of control. We should have totally expected him to die. Anyway, we're going to put him in hell. Crack smoking mayors. If that's the first thing we see on your resume, that you're a crack smoking mayor, it's an uphill climb to get you into heaven. All right, that's going to do it, folks. That's the first 3/4 of this year's show. It is now the time where we go into all the headlines, hot topics, current events, whatever it is that is shaping our very understanding of this day. we move into that next. And first, I would absolutely like to thank once again our executive producer of today's show, the lovely chat mom, April. April's chat mom. Comes completely from a place of affection and reverence for the mother class. That's where that comes from. But, here we are in 2024. It's like, oh, why she's got to be the chat mom? Why can't she be the chat boss? Because, it's a description of endearment. And I can't believe for a million years that April would be like, I'm more than a mom, because of course she is. But, one of the main things that we have in this world are good moms. I happen to have a world-class one who... Anyway, I can't even get into it. So I mean it as the highest form of compliment. And I'm sure she appreciates it. Oh, there she is. She does. She appreciates it. All right. Also, if you would like to be a part of the ongoing search for our permanent executive producer, I don't know. You get to be executive producer if you tip the most on the previous day's show. So if anybody would like to tip, please do. Please do. We could use the help. All right. Moving forward, let's get into what today is all about. Let's run through all the top stories, shall we? Let me get a drink first. There's a lot of stuff going on. I prepared a lot of stories here, man. Why'd you only prepare stories for the men? Oh, shut up. Fucking, I hate this world. I swear to God, that's another aspect of me watching the Cold War stuff. I'm like, my God, when we had real existential things to be concerned about, we didn't get so twisted over shit like, that white man's wearing a sombrero. Let's put him in jail. Ugh. Watch this Cold War thing. Remember, that's how Gen X is shaped. That's the world. That was our understanding of the world from the time we were born. The understanding was everybody's just trying to cover their own ass, and the whole world is on the brink at any given moment of ending. That was our understanding of things, and that's who Gen X is. So forgive us when we get angry about, St. Patrick's Day is a slur against the Irish. Shut up. It is not. I'm 100% Irish. We love it. I was reading something about that last weekend, about how St. Patrick's Day, the movement, ding, 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 has never taken off. It was an article about, the epic generational failure of this aspect of what is now called cancel culture. But two things they talked about. They talked about Columbus Day parades, and how people for years have been like, it's racist, and he was an Italian slaughterer, and about how that took forever and a day to get any kind of traction, but it has gotten some traction. There are people who are, no longer celebrating Columbus Day. But then they juxtaposed that with the fight against St. Patrick's Day, which apparently is a thing that has been going on for a long time. And it's not even a group of Irish people. It's just a group of people who think that is like ethnically insulting to the Irish and all that. And anyway, the article was fascinating. It was about how the number one reason that has never taken hold as an issue is because every Irish person loves the idea of St. Patrick's Day. They're not offended. Look, if your ethnic class could be branded as the ethnic class that you always want at a party, that's not really an insult. It's not. It's kind of like black guys having giant, that's not an insult. I don't see how that's an insult. Well, those black men with their gigantic penises, that's not an insult. Hey, the Irish, they like to have a good time. They write good music and they sing and they dance. That's not an insult. That's like, cool. You know what's an insult? The Germans have no sense of humor. That's an insult. That's when I can see them be like, if there was a day every March where it was like, let's talk about how the Germans are no fun, then I could see how that wouldn't take hold. All right, this is the stream of consciousness, and that was just a rant that I just went on for absolutely no reason. I have no understanding of how we got there. All right, let's go. Let's get started. Marjorie Taylor Greene is making big news today. She has filed a motion to have Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, thrown in jail. I don't know. I read it quickly. I don't know if that's what she wants. She wants him gone. We know that. Marjorie Taylor Greene out there being weird. It's just so weird. This is just, look, she can't even, she's such a wild card, man. She is rogue all the time, because I told you what the reasoning for this was, and how this is why Trump hasn't come out and railed, unless he's doing it now, because you can never tell. This deal that has been brokered between Speaker Mike Johnson and the Democrats and the Republicans who voted for it too, this deal that has been brokered to keep the government open, seems like a win. It seems like, well, look, they did it again. But we all know that all this is kicking the can down the road, as they say. Now, the reason that the Republicans and Speaker Johnson and all that are like, okay, let's settle this, let's keep it open, and let's move forward, and we'll kick it down the road till September. That September is the date, you see, because Donald Trump wants this to be an issue. With 6 weeks to the election, you shut down the government. If you're the president and the government shuts down 6 weeks before we go to the polls, oh my God, that is bad. It's just a bad look. And that's what they want. So the conservatives and MAGA and all of that, they've gotten together and they said, let's just settle it right now. People will forget about it because people are stupid. And then we'll kick the can down the road and it'll land in September. And when September comes, we'll be able to make this the biggest political issue and that's the hope. That's what they're trying to do. Marjorie Taylor Greene can't get on board with that. she's like out there going, wah, wah. I don't know if she doesn't understand, or if she's just a crazy lady, or maybe just, she's got her own plan. And that's probably the truth. There's probably some combination of all of that. But Marjorie Taylor Greene has filed a motion to kick out Speaker Mike Johnson. This is, look, where does she think she's going to get? I mean, you guys, we remember how difficult it's been getting with this particular Congress. We know how difficult it's been getting a speaker who will stick, right? Remember how humiliating it was for Kevin McCarthy when he had to go vote after vote after vote after vote, unable to get the requisite amount? It was humiliating. And then just after a couple of months, they kick him out. And then they can't get anybody to fill the seat. So they pull some dude nobody ever heard of, Mike Johnson, elevate him to a household name. He's now the Speaker of the House. We still don't even know who the hell this guy is, but he's the Speaker of the House, and he's not good enough. And now she wants him gone. This is embarrassing. This is ridiculous. Just fucking stop, man. Oh, she's a troublemaker. She's a troublemaker. MTG. How about this? Russia and China has vetoed a resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. This resolution was being pushed by the United States because I'm an idiot, and this seems like kind of an important piece of knowledge for you. I'm going to read directly from the report here. According to Reuters, the U.S. effort to ramp up political pressure on Israel by casting an international spotlight on its concerns failed Friday in the United Nations Security Council when Russia and China vetoed a U.S.-sponsored resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, tied to the release of hostages held by Hamas. So I don't know what's going on there. You got China and Russia. You just make it stop. Just, ceasefire, let the hostages go. How is that so hard? I'm tired of that story. Tired of the Ukraine story too. The Ukraine, I'm back all in on the Ukraine war stuff because, as I said, this new Netflix docuseries, Turning Point, The Bomb and the Cold War. It's so good. But every episode begins with something in the modern times showing how, and the message of this thing is we're kind of in a Cold War again. It's kind of starting. And this is what the last one looked like. So the first couple of minutes of every episode concerns what's going on in the Ukraine and, that whole thing. It's amazing. It's interesting. Saw some video do you remember when the Russians seized or attacked the power plant like 2 years ago, the nuke plant? And there was all these live streams coming from the nuke plant. And they're like, we're under attack. And the whole world was like, arr! And then ultimately nothing happened. This docuseries on Netflix shows incredible footage that I've never seen from that night of soldiers and Russian soldiers storming into the control room of putting guns at people's. Oh, it's so good. So yeah, we are in or moving towards a more kindly, I don't know, a less obvious stage of Cold War 2.0. And let me tell you, folks, there ain't going to be any détente, there ain't going to be any glasnost, and there ain't going to be any perestroika. This thing is going to go to the wire, I believe. We've got crazy people at the knobs now. We really didn't have crazy people at the knobs. That's one of the things that this Cold War thing is teaching me, that we had people at the knobs who were devastatingly afraid of nuclear war on both sides, whether it was Reagan, whether it was Brezhnev, whether it was Gorbachev, whether it was Carter. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Kennedy. Oh my God. They were all desperate. Truman. Oh, they were Eisenhower desperately afraid of nuclear war. So good. Truth Social. Donald Trump, he's got the money issues. We haven't really been reporting all that, but I'm sure you've heard about it. He's got a bond that he's got in New York. They're like, we're going to seize your buildings and your properties, all that kind of stuff. He says he's worth $11 billion. He can't seem to come up with the 495 to cover this, so I don't know what that means. But it looks like one of the smart ideas that they seem to have in order to create a profit, or at least some sort of economic upswing in the Trump organization, is to take Truth Social public, to get it on the stock market, and in that way Trump supporters can buy shit tons of stock in it and all that stuff. I mean, to me it seems like a bit of a grift, but what doesn't? I think he's a con man. I mean, we don't get political, but I just look at the guy and I'm like, yeah, he's a grift. They approved it. So the board of Truth Social have approved this, so might go public. There might be a whole bunch of money coming in. Unfortunately, this isn't going to help the current situation. However, how it could help the current situation is, although he will not be able to pull any of his money out of Truth Social for a period of 1 year after it goes public, and they do this so that you don't just run the price up and then the founders pull all their cash and tank the company, right? You can't do that. So he's got to keep his money there. The way this will help him, though, is that that's future income. You can bank on that. You can bank if you can convince somebody that the stock price is going to remain the same. You could probably get a loan on what you'll get in the coming. So we'll see. So this is a little scheme he's got, a little plan. It looks like it's the kind of thing businessmen do. So let's see if it works for him. Truth Social possibly going public. And what a time for them to go public, huh? The stock market. Although, what is the stock market doing now? Because I was looking at it before I signed on here. And it wasn't good. Dow Jones. Let's see where it's at. It's down. Yeah, it's down 162. The stock market is that's bad. That is bad. That is bad in the moment. For those of us who live in the moment, that is bad in the moment. The stock market is down 162 points. But it's at 39. The cumulative, it's 39,618. Okay. It's at 39,000. It's about to go to 40. The stock market is about to go to 40. I mean, not today, because there's a pushback on that in the moment. The stock market is going to clear 40,000. Oh my God, are those stock people getting rich? Let me put it to you this way. 2008, 2009, during the time we all learned words like quantitative easing and, all of that, and then acted like we were experts on it. Well, the quantitative easing, because we saw like one report on it, and then we all became economists. That was 2008, 2009. That was the world my son was born into. I vividly recall a roundtable conversation with economists who were talking about what it would take for them to feel confident in the American stock market again. Now, this was about 2009, 2010. And the consensus of these world-renowned economists at that time was that if the United States stock market could just get above 12, if it could get above 12,000, because I think at that point it was down to like 7,000 or 8,000. I mean, it bottomed out. But their big hope for a sign of a resurgent, powerful, again, American stock market would be if it was above 12,000. So in the time since then, we're about to go to 40,000. So, all of us who lost our homes and all of that kind of stuff because of that fucking idiot class there on Wall Street? Remember how all of us who are still digging out, who still have these specters of insane tax burdens and liens and property losses, all of us, the middle class, the working class, the people who are still fucked to this day. Yeah, well, screw us, huh? Screw us, because the people on the other side of it, the people who caused it, have been experiencing, they've had a decade that they could not have imagined. 100% of them would go through what they went through in 2009 again if it meant that it would grow exponentially the way it has. How you guys doing? Huh? How you guys doing? Did you guys, it's since 2010, so what's that? Let's say they were at 10. Let's say the market was at 10. Okay? They wanted it at 12 to feel comfortable that it was going to be okay. So the market's at 10. So let's say, so now it's at 40, right? We're going to top 40. So that's an increase of 30,000. I'm trying to figure out a way to put that into, like, regular people terms, but I'm an idiot. My point is this: they got 30,000 more than they. I'm so angry. Don't listen to me. Be angry. Let my emotional vibe resonate with you. Be angry at these people. Stop just blindly going, that's the way it is. No, it's not the way it is. It's not the way it should be. I ain't no communist. I'm telling you, I'm watching this Cold War thing. I'm watching this Cold War thing on Netflix. I've never felt more American. Because I'm like, yeah, dirty Soviet. I'm just totally into the American. So I'm not a communist. But I'm done. 40,000 the stock market is going to go to. 40,000. These people with their 15 yachts. And me, it's not jealousy. It's not jealousy. It's not individual jealousy. It's class jealousy. And we should all have some degree of class jealousy that the system is rigged against us. Unless we've got a daddy who knows somebody. Look at him, he came from nowhere. Well, his uncle was the president of trading. That's why he got the job. Oh, but he came from nowhere, small town Kansas. Stop it. It's rigged. It's rigged for us regular people. Hey, somebody's got to dig the ditches, right? Isn't that the joke they always like to tell? Hey, they can't all be at this white yacht party. Those parties they do on yachts where everybody has to wear white. Somebody's got to clean out the porta potties after our private functions. I'm not okay being that. None of us should be. And that should be the driving political narrative that fuels all of us when we go to the voting box, okay? Just learn about who's doing what. Understanding that they're all fucking us in some way, but there is probably a better choice somewhere out there. I don't know. I'm done. That's what a stream of consciousness rant is. Yeah, Byron, absolutely. Byron ain't wrong. Brother. Byron says the elites have been building themselves bunkers. They absolutely have. You know why? Because they can't believe that we haven't risen up yet. They can't fucking believe it. They look at France. You Americans, the French are pussies. Fuck you. The French didn't get pushed around. The French rose up and cut their king's head off. Fucking French. The French, we Americans are bending over and then saying, do you need me to pay for the lube? So many Americans carrying water for this elite class. Stop it. Carry water for your brother who lives down the street. Carry water for the people in your community. Stop it with this making excuses for people that are just awful. All right. This is the fun we have. See, I'm kind of a crazy person, so sometimes, we go in that direction. I can talk about anything, not wisely or to any degree of, knowledge, but I could still talk about it. That's what a rant is. Tennessee, take me to a better place. Tennessee has passed the first law in the nation that outlaws AI or artificial intelligence from copying or mimicking or doing whatever to musical artists or people who own the right to music, images, brandings, trademarks, all that kind of stuff. Now, you might be thinking, because this is what I thought, because this is a very forward thinking kind of law. This is the vanguard of the new kinds of laws that we are going to have to be very serious in crafting. And you don't think of Tennessee when you think of that kind of thing. At least I don't. But I'm here to tell you, personally speaking, from my own sort of point of view, I like always kind of just conflated Tennessee and Kentucky. It's like bad about the same kind. That ain't true at all. Tennessee is a really vibrant, really diverse state. I mean, Tennessee has Nashville and Memphis. Those are two really cool American cities. So, this whole idea that we just be dismissive of Tennessee, I think that might have been a flaw in my perspective. And I'm going to work on that. But I think Tennessee, every time I go to Tennessee, I have a great time. My son and I love Memphis. We've been to Memphis a couple times. That's a baller, cool ass city. That city for culture is really cool. Same with Nashville. Nashville is awesome. And by the way, that is the reason that Tennessee is at the forefront of this, because the music industry. So it's, this is why, Mississippi ain't doing this. Mississippi don't give a shit. Nashville, the economy of Nashville is steeped in the music business. So here's what it says. Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has signed a bill into law on Thursday that aimed to protect artists, including musicians, from unauthorized use by artificial intelligence. The legislation is called, are you ready for this? I love this. Woo! Now this is some Tennessee law stuff. Here you go. The legislation is called Ensuring Likeness, Voice, and Image Security. The new Tennessee law is called Ensuring Likeness, Voice, and Image Security. ELVIS. That's right. It's the Elvis law. That's awesome. That is too awesome. The Elvis law. Ensuring likeness, voice, and image security. I don't know who came up with that. I don't know who went, you know what we should call it? Get that person a raise. That person, that's fun. Now we're tethered to the population at large. The Elvis Act. We all understand that. It tells you exactly what it is. Elvis is a singer and a songwriter, can't make his music because he's dead. That's great. All right, there you go. Tennessee doing some baller things out there. As a creative who was in a project that I'm working on with some other people. We were there yesterday. We were not fooling around, but our tech person was showing us how some of the branding messages that we're creating for products in this startup business that I'm involved in can basically be messaged through using AI. And she showed me this really cool AI pitch, like a commercial for what our services are. And I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, holy shit. She's like, yeah, I did that. Took 2 minutes to do. And I'm like, that is like a commercial that would typically have taken, 3 days to do at a production studio with actors and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, no, it was just 2 minutes. And here's the other thing about it, though. It's completely heartless. It's completely soulless. There's nothing special about it. It looks like the most generic, vanilla, non-nuanced messaging that I've ever seen. So whatever you think AI is, right now, it's not selling me. I mean, it's cool. It makes it easier. And if, you have to create something that isn't intended to, connect, like branding messaging is all about having some kind of soul, having some kind of a message that people on a subconscious level connect to. I didn't get that from the example of AI that was used, but okay, moving on. Elvis Act is now a thing, the Elvis law in Tennessee. How about this? A follow-up on a story we did yesterday. We told you about the dude who was he's in charge. He was the CEO of Bill and Hillary Clinton Airport there in Little Rock. Told you about how he got wounded in a shootout with ATF agents at his house. They served a warrant at 6 a.m. the other day, and he showed up with, in his bathrobe with a gun and started shooting at him, and they shot him. And the update is he gone. Just as I said yesterday, he's dead. And now we know more. Yesterday when we told the story, he wasn't dead yet. He was in the hospital. He'd been shot in the head. It didn't look good, but we didn't have that conclusion. Today we know more. We know more about what was being served and what he was being accused of. Freedom of information and whatnot has been uncovered. So the warrants are being reported there. Exactly what it was. It was 6 a.m. early morning, 6 a.m. sunrise warrant serving by the ATF. This guy was a gun collector and an illegal arms dealer. Okay. And he was into some pretty serious shit. And this wasn't his brother's out there going, my brother has a Second Amendment right. Right. Except a bunch of his guns that were traced directly back to him were found in a gangland murder up in Toronto, and then more were found across Canada. So as it turns out, this guy, did you ever see a movie? Did you ever see a TV show where some dude needs to acquire weapons? And they meet some hotel room, some shady ass hotel room. And then there's a dude with a giant box and he lays it out on the bed and he's got these giant bazookas and he's got every kind of weapon. You know that guy? Okay, that's who this dude was. That's who this dude was. He was a dude who did that. He was actually, according to these charges, in addition to being the CEO of the airport, he was also a fairly well entrenched illegal arms dealer. At least those were the charges against him. Also, there's charges that the reason that these things are all happening in Canada is because he was able to fly the guns through his airport without anybody. So story is developing ... But he's done. He's dead. His name is Brian Malinowski. And it also explains why this is not something innocent people who are simply run afoul of their Second Amendment rights. This is not how innocent people in that category react. The police don't show up to raid your house and then you greet them at the door by firing first. That's what he did. He fired first. He knew what he had done and he knew the jig was up and he knew that it was, I'm going to spend 30 years in prison or I'm going to kill some cops. And he actually did. He shot one ATF agent. So, he's not a good dude. He's not a good dude. Sounds like they got him. An Arkansas airport director who was fatally wounded in a shootout with federal agents earlier this week was being investigated for multiple illegal arms sales. This according to unsealed court documents. Brian Malinowski, 53, was the executive director of the Little Rock Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport. He was shot when agents arrived at his home early Tuesday to serve a federal warrant. He died on later Thursday in a hospital in Little Rock. Okay, there you have it. That's an update on a story we did yesterday. We can move on from that weirdness. How about the essence of humanity? This is an interesting story. So NASA is, and I always love these stories because even in its time, it seems like this is a big waste of time. This is obviously just a publicity stunt. This doesn't mean anything. NASA will send discs depicting the essence of humanity to the moon. Now, it's kind of a cool concept, right? So the concept of this, and we've done this forever. What's really funny is like back in the day when we first started sending shit into space and dropping shit out there was always some level of awareness that, well, maybe, there's another planet of people out there. Maybe they find this and maybe they now understand who we are and, we can all move forward through this universe as brothers and, all that stuff. That's the hippy dippy thing about why you do it. But here's what they used to do. They used to send it up on not discs, like records, because that was how, at the time, that's how we did it. So there's a bunch of like records, like titanium records, because they have to be titanium or else they'll degrade on the surface of the moon or whatever it is. That's so dumb. It's like, okay, so let's say an alien race finds it. They're not going to have a record player. They're like, what is this? I don't know. It's just like a circular thing with grooves. The only way to do this is to just go up there and carve it into the side of the moon, right? Like the Egyptians did. That's why we know about the Egyptians, because of hieroglyphics. They carved this shit into the sides of moons. It wasn't dependent on some technology from, 200 BC that they presumed would still be used in 1,000 years. That's insane. So whatever this essence of humanity is, it's on discs. Okay. We don't even use compact discs on this planet anymore. You're sending it up there. They're not going to know how to play that thing. Here's what you got to do. You just got to make big blocks. You got to write it. You got to chisel it all into giant blocks and you got to send those up to the moon. And then hope the way we have been able to interpret what hieroglyphics mean, just hope that there's somebody in 1,000 years from another planet who's like, oh yes, I happen to be an expert in alien ancient dialects, something like that. But it's so fucking stupid. All right, so now let's get into it. What is the essence of humanity, right? The essence of humanity. Sapphire discs. sapphire discs. Again, they're not going to have any way to play a sapphire disc. There's no way. Sapphire discs etched with the essence of humanity will be sent to the moon under NASA's Artemis program to act as a repository of human knowledge. The project, titled Sanctuary on the Moon, includes examples of mathematics, culture, paleontology, art, and science, as well as the human genomes of a man and a woman. Oh, all right. So who are these people? Are these actually, don't you want to know if that's you? Wouldn't that be cool? Like, I'm sure, I mean, so they took the human genome. They took a human being and they took their entire genome, and they took a man and they took a woman, and now those people are up there on the moon. And in 2,000 years, a billion years from now, when the alien lizard people find that, they'll probably be able to make those two people again. Wouldn't you like to know if that's you? Something to look forward to. You know? Why not? So where'd those people come from? Who are those people? Those people should be celebrities. At the very least, they should have a podcast. Let's see here. The project, titled Sanctuary on the Moon. The discs mimic the golden phonographs. Oh yeah, this is what I was telling you about. We set records before. The discs mimic the golden phonographs sent with the Voyager spacecraft. If I sent my, kid at college, if I sent my kid a record, I couldn't be ensured that he would have a phonograph to play it. But we're sending records to space and hoping that civilizations a billion years from now will have this ancient way. They won't even be using electricity. They won't know what, you got to plug it in. Oh, maybe a crank one. That's how you do it. You got to go, completely non-tech. You got it. The records, if you said, that's, I guess, how you do it. That's how you do it. Oh my God, why don't I work at NASA? All right. You don't send discs that are going to be dependent on them having the requisite technology to interpret the discs. You can't do that. I like the idea of blocks. We send big giant blocks, big rocks, big craters, carve shit on there, whatever. We send it up there. Maybe a plaque. We make a nice plaque and it explains everything. We could do that. We could do that a dozen times. I just had an idea and I lost it. Oh my God. God damn it. What was I thinking? What was my idea? What do we do? Records. That's what we do. We go back to records. But we also send one of those old-timey crank phonographs. And then we send a block that's got the instructions on how to use the record, because they're not going to know. They're going to be like, brr. They're going to be like monkeys. They're going to be like really smart monkeys because they can do all kinds of other things. What I'm saying is the technology that we lean on today in this era of humanity is going to be something seen by them as just, like rock versus rock. Like it's going to seem so. The discs mimic the golden phonographs sent with the Voyager spacecraft. The first ships to leave the solar system, which contained greetings in 55 different languages, messages from world leaders, and even a human heartbeat. Cool. The new discs include schematics for NASA's Saturn V rocket and lunar landing modules, which took astronauts to the moon in the Apollo mission. Oh my God, we're sending them like 60-year-old schematics. We don't even use them anymore, but here you go. This is how we did it. Isn't that crazy? Like, is that how it's presented? Look at how we just stuck a human being in basically a trash can and sat it on top of some dynamite, and we saw how high he could go. And this one actually made it to the moon. And then we got him back. That's how it should be presented. Because you want to wow these people. Don't act like your technology is cool, because it's going to be embarrassingly bad to the people who find it. The new discs include schematics. We did that. Let's see. It has it has all the information about the moon landing and the Apollo missions, as well as paintings by Leonardo da Vinci and Vincent van Gogh. It also contains the Declaration of Human Rights. I don't know what that is. You guys know what that is? What is the Declaration of Human Rights? Doesn't that feel like something we should know? There are also celestial and terrestrial maps, as well as data on anatomy, astrophysics, and particle physics, phases of the moon, and development such as the combustion engine and flying machines. You mean airplanes? What do you mean flying machines? We are delighted to take Sanctuary to the moon, said Joel Kearns, NASA's Deputy Associate Administrator. We believe that this internationally curated repository of knowledge on the moon will serve as an inspiration today and for many generations to come. The discs are the idea of Benoit Favely, a French engineer who has worked with a team of international scientists to choose what image to place on each disc. Mr. Fravely himself appears on one of the discs dressed in an astronaut suit. Cosplay. Oh, that's how we're going to introduce. Oh, that's it. So this French engineer has put his own self in there, like a picture of him wearing an astronaut suit. So that's going to be our introduction to whoever finds this. Some French D-bag cosplaying stolen valor. You're not an astronaut, dude. But do you know what'll happen? Okay, so here's what's going to happen. This guy's probably a dork. He's an engineer. He's a French engineer. He probably sees astronauts. They get laid. They get chicks. It's a good time to be an astronaut. It's cool. It's a cool job. He sees this. He hates it. He works with them, man, all the time. He's there in the office. They're coming through. The astronauts are coming and they're like, hey, ladies. And all the chicks, especially the one that he's got a crush on, the one that he's got a crazy crush on, she's like, oh, the astronauts are coming. So he's got resentment. I'm telling you, scientists, he's got a resentment for the cool-ass gigs that these astronauts have. So now here's what's going to happen. So now he decides he's going to pose as an astronaut for future, alien civilizations to find. Some alien civilization is going to find this, and they're going to build statues to him. They're going to be like, this is an astronaut from another. He's going to be immortalized, that son of a bitch. And I can't say that I wouldn't do it myself. I mean, why not? Why not? It will be a variated portrait of a life on Earth. We hope Sanctuary will cause... we don't care. We're done with the story. We're spending too much time on it. Spending way too much time on it. It is a cool story, though. What is the essence of humanity? Let's see here. They also sent examples of sport. You know what they sent? They sent examples of soccer or football. I'm sure they call it football. The aliens aren't going to be calling it soccer like we Americans. They'll probably call it football. So they got soccer. They showed an example of baseball. The World Baseball Classic from last year is what they sent. So future generations are going to be like, you Japanese, that's the sport of baseball, because they're going to see the best people at baseball being Japanese, and they're just going to think that we Americans always sucked at it. Anyway, the other one, NASCAR. They sent a NASCAR race. It is my hope that the aliens are drawn to NASCAR. I just hope that they're that kind of person, that kind of species. We're like, Wendy's. This is so stupid. This story is so fucking stupid. Wendy's is doing whatever they can to make us forget about how they were the first through the door with this idiotic... Hey, I'm not plugged in, am I? Hold on. We're about to die here, folks. Hokey schmokels. Oh, my goodness. Guys, hold on. I'm going to take a quick break. Hold on. I just realized my computer isn't plugged in. That's so weird. It's about to die. Can't have that. We got a lot of show left. It's a Friday show. Hold on. All right. Yikes. What the? All right, I apologize. I just looked down at the computer and it was flashing, and I'm like, why do I have no battery? And then I'm like, oh, because I didn't plug it in today. Got to do that every day. Wendy's. Remember Wendy's? They did that whole thing with the surge pricing. They were the first through the door. They told us all, they're like, hey, we're going to charge more for a burger when the lines are longer. And now everybody's doing it, and it's all been normalized because Wendy's did it first. Well, Wendy's is the one who's been sort of tagged with that. Holy shit, is that a huge squirrel? There was a huge squirrel. Anyway, Wendy's is doing whatever they can to change the conversation about their company. So they've teamed with DoorDash, and guess what they did? They put out a little thing. Apparently this is I thought this was a stupid press release about, well, here's what's coming. This is the kind of thing we're going to do in the future. No, apparently this is something that is happening right now, this very minute. Oh my goodness. Hold on. We have some breaking news. So I will tell you this story. Wendy's is delivering food by drone for the first time. Here's the story. Wendy's customers around the country may soon be able to receive their orders via drone thanks to a bold new collaboration between DoorDash and Wing. Alphabet's Wing. Alphabet, that's Google, right? The food delivery company announced bold new collaborations. A pilot program rolled out on Thursday. So it's happening now. A pilot program rolled out Thursday in Christiansburg, Virginia, has drones dropping off burgers, fries, and Frosties in 30 minutes or less, DoorDash has said in a press release. DoorDash is partnering with Wings, the drone company, owned by Google, with Wings in a pilot program to deliver Wendy's items in Virginia. So here's a select local consumers will be able to order eligible menu items from Wendy's, the pilot's first restaurant partner, through the DoorDash marketplace and have them delivered via drone. A DoorDash spokesman said, Wing drones will reportedly fly the eligible items, including Baconators, Frosties, and even chili at 65 miles per hour before gently dropping them off on a customer's front lawn. If there are too many orders, the meal will be delivered by a squadron of these. Like, imagine, that's cool. Look, some rich dude there. He should do this if he's got a kid's birthday this weekend. He should be like, I want 50 drones to land in my front yard, dropping off burgers for the kid. This is stupid. This isn't something I try to stay open-minded when we talk about the future. Just because I can't conceive of something now doesn't mean that it's not something that's very possible in the future. I mean, the internet. Dude, I'm from the 80s. The internet, you've told me in 1986 about the internet and all that shit, and that I'd be doing this at this age. I'd be like, yeah, right. So I try to stay fairly open-minded when the premise of what's to come in the future is brought up. But I don't see this. This is also why I don't see flying cars. People are... Why can't we have flying cars? You want to know why? You want honestly why we can't have flying cars? We can have flying cars. We've had helicopters for years. We can do flying cars. Flying cars can be a thing. Can I tell truth to power here? You want to hear the truth as to why we do not have flying cars? Because we cannot handle the responsibility of flying cars. We can't, and everybody knows it. The people who are in charge of this shit, they know it. We could not be trusted to have flying cars. We can barely be trusted to have cars that are tethered to the ground. We kill people on roads all the time because of bad decisions that we make as idiot humans while driving cars on the road. How many cars are going to start falling into people's houses, killing entire families when the gas lines explode because we're not used to shit just flying out? That's why there ain't flying cars. It's also why I don't really think there's going to be this crazy drone armada in our skies either. I don't. Look, first of all, we have to understand, we own the skies, right? That's the whole point of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. We, the people, we allow certain economies, certain businesses, we allow them to use our public airwaves for all kinds of things. We allow it, but we make rules, and that's what the FCC is all about. So we have rules. This is an FCC issue. You can't just fill the sky with, individual commercial drones. They'll be crashing into each other. I mean, what's going to happen the first time that a Wendy's drone slams into a Taco Bell drone at an intersection in rush hour and rains down hell from above and burgers and burritos on whomever is stuck below? Come on, it's not real. It's fun. It's Jules Verne stuff, but it's not real. We cannot handle the responsibility of maintaining order within the air above us. And the only way that we can maintain that responsibility is to just, do it the way we keep doing it. I don't believe that we're ever going to have flying cars because we can't handle it. I don't believe. All right, I've said my piece. I think you people know how distressed I am by us collectively as a species. We can't even handle flying cars, for crying outside. I just quoted my friend's mom. My friend's mom was from another country, and she sometimes got words wrong. She used to say, for crying outside. Like instead of for crying out loud. I loved it. I don't like this, for crying outside. She was from Germany. Let's see. What else do we have here? Well, I'll tell you what we have here. Hold on. Let me make sure I get this right. Yeah. Okay. So, breaking news. And probably broke within the last hour. But we've all had a lot of fun with old Kate Middleton, haven't we? Had a lot of fun. Oh, this, that, and the other thing. I myself, I delved into some tabloid conspiracy theories about she found out about Prince William's love child, which may or may not be a real thing. We don't know, but she's been missing. The story about Kate is that, she went in for some fairly serious now. They're saying it was fairly serious abdominal surgery a couple of months back. And, the press didn't, it's a good, she's going to be fine. She's going to be fine. But what happened, the strange turn of events that occurred there was that she went in for her surgery at the very same time that King Charles was also in the hospital. So, and they roomed together, and that was a nice story for a day or two. It's like, oh, isn't that cute? Father-in-law and daughter-in-law, they're in the same room, probably a kick-ass room. Let's stop kidding ourselves. This is, they're not sharing a bunk. Hey, move over. Can I have another pillow? I mean, they're the king and the future queen of England. So I'm sure this hospital room is the most baller room ever, but it was a cute story. But what happened was everybody sort of took their eye off Kate, because it seemed, at least at the time, that King Charles had the more serious situation, which was cancer. So he had cancer. So everybody was kind of focusing on that. Now, since that time, people kind of forgot about Kate for a while because it was all, the king has cancer and all this kind of stuff. But then somebody went, hey, wait a second. I know we're all concerned about the king, but Kate was sick too, and where's she been and all of that. And so, it just went nuts a couple of weeks back on British Mother's Day. Again, I'll say it again. Didn't know we needed two of them, but apparently they've got their own Mother's Day. On British Mother's Day, when she put out an absolutely obviously doctored Photoshop picture of her with her kids, people are like, why ain't she with her kids? Why did they have to doctor a photo? And then, kind of got crazy and everybody started having fun with it. And well, now we know what's going on. We know to now. Breaking news: Kate Middleton reveals that she has cancer, and she's been undergoing chemotherapy. So now I still don't know. We saw a video. Okay, so I need to take a breath here. We saw a video the other day. Remember where it was supposed to be her and William out and about at a farmer's market in England, and we saw the video, and everybody saw the video, and everybody was like, that ain't Kate. That does not look like Kate. Well, and the reason was she looks too thin to be Kate. She's too gaunt. She's too gray. Well, I mean, those are all the characteristics of somebody who is undergoing chemotherapy. I mean, we have all known people we love and care about who've gone through that. So maybe that explains it. Maybe that was her. And maybe that's, she just looks a lot different. Okay, I guess she put out, this is the first I'm seeing of this. This is new to me. And it looks like she has put out a message, a video. So let's watch her as she explains what has been happening. Okay, no thank you for that. A lot of pop-ups. Charles breaks silence on Kate cancer diagnosis as king is so proud of his princess. Aw, daddy. All right, here you go. Let's watch this. I think they're gonna give us some kind of a commercial, maybe. I don't know. We're gonna skip that ad.
I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery. It has been an incredibly tough couple of months for our entire family, but I've had a fantastic medical team who have taken great care of me, for which I'm so grateful. In January, I underwent major abdominal surgery in London, and at the time, it was thought that my condition was non-cancerous. The surgery was successful. However, tests after the operation found cancer had been present. My medical team therefore advised that I should undergo a course of preventative chemotherapy, and I'm now in the early stages of that treatment. This, of course, came as a huge shock, and William and I have been doing everything we can to process and manage this privately for the sake of our young family. As you can imagine, this has taken time. It has taken me time to recover.
How to bend nature to the will.
What?
Starts with a battery system. One that's
Commercialism.
made for the outdoors.
That's right.
Make sure
Never
it's
let a
powerful.
beautiful human moment.
Tap the experts. Test the limits. The Echo E-Force battery system.
For major surgery in order to start my
What the hell is happening here? Now they're going to make us again?
treatment. But most importantly, it has taken us time to explain everything to George, Charlotte, and Louis in a way that's appropriate for them and to reassure them that I'm going to be okay. As I've said to them, I am well and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal in my mind, body, and spirits. Having William by my side is a great source of comfort and reassurance too, as is the love, support, and kindness that has been shown by so many of you. It means so much to us both. We hope that you'll understand that as a family, we now need some time, space, and privacy while I complete my treatment. My work has always brought me a deep sense of joy, and I look forward to being back when I'm able. But for now, I must focus on making a full recovery. At this time, I'm also thinking of all those whose lives have been affected by cancer.
How to outsmart the
Oh,
outdoors.
for
Think
fuck's
fast. That needs work.
sake.
That needs trimming. That
Really? Okay. All right. Well, that's very sad. And, you know, cancer ain't one of those things that we play around with because, cancer don't give a shit who you are. So that's something that that's the big common denominator, I think, of humanity is cancer. So we all get it. It's the breakdown of the human cell. It's going to happen. If we all live to be 300 years old, we're all going to have cancer. It is inevitable. It's going to happen. Just, is it going to happen in our lifespan, or is it going to be the reason for the limitation of our lifespan? I don't know. That's the question. That's terrible. Yes, so can we all agree? Because we are not card-carrying members of the asshole class. Can we all agree to just leave her alone now? Let's do that. Let's leave her alone. That's good enough for me. Don't we feel stupid? Having all that fun, making fun of her and all that shit. Okay, leave her alone. Because I know, there's all of these moving parts with her and the royal family and, all the money and all the privilege. And fuck that. She's a mom, and none of that shit means anything to those little kids, right? I mean, and those little kids, they got a mom who's sick. And is it please not stomach cancer? It sounds like it's stomach cancer, which, guys, I mean, that's a God love him. All right. Then I don't know if God love him, but keep a good vibe for anybody. And you know what? Use this opportunity to think about someone in your life who's also suffering with cancer. Just send that positive energy to that person, because there you go. So now we know, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story. Wendy's. Not Wendy's. We already talked about Wendy's. Leprosy. Well, speaking of Wendy's, leprosy making a big comeback. That's right. Didn't you think leprosy was like scurvy or beriberi? I didn't think leprosy was still a thing. Leprosy's back. It's back in a big way. And it's back in a big way in America. And question for you. If there was a state that had to be the hotbed for leprosy, would you say Florida? Because that's what it is, of course. It's Florida. Florida has they're not saying it's an outbreak of leprosy, but leprosy as a disease has been moved into the endemic category in Florida, which the endemic category means, yeah, it's here and it's in a specific population and it's not going away and they're just going to have to deal with it. That's endemic. Pandemic, of course, we know that. That means it's broken out of that. And it's, so I don't know what class of people, Central Florida. I don't know what Central Florida is about, but it seems to be down there in Central Florida where leprosy is spreading. The headline is exactly that. Leprosy is spreading throughout Florida. All right, so it's about to become a pandemic maybe in Florida. Leprosy is on the rise in the United States and particularly in the state of Florida. This is concerning disease specialists. According to the World Health Organization, there are about 200,000 cases of leprosy every year in 120 countries around the world. Okay, so 200,000, that's still, I don't know if that's a lot or not. The U.S. is experiencing a case creep with a number of infections that are more than doubling over the past decade, and specifically the past few years, both in people exposed to armadillos and those who aren't. Did you guys know this about leprosy? I didn't. I mean, I don't have, you know what, honestly, I don't know anything about armadillos. I don't know. Are they turtles? I mean, I know what they are. What are they, though? I know what they are. But what are they? I mean, I don't know what an armadillo. What is it like looks like a dinosaur? An armadillo to me looks like a possum that is wearing armor. Like it's Sir Possum, like Sir Possum of the Round Table. That's what an armadillo is to me. We got them here in Texas. I've seen them. Never seen a live one. Seen them dead. You drive the roads here in Texas, you find dead armadillos. They are frightening. They are frightening looking characters. They look like possums wearing battle armor. And they spread leprosy. I didn't know that. And here's the other thing. I think leprosy is like breaking out in Florida, but they ain't even got armadillos in Florida, do they? Do they have armadillos in Florida? I thought armadillos were desert Southwest kind of things. Let's ask Google. She answers all questions. She'll know. Does Florida have armadillos?
According to Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, introductions of armadillos also occurred along the east coast of Florida as early as the 1920s and in southern Alabama in the 1960s. Armadillos are now common throughout most of the state and are considered to be naturalized.
God, the first thing it says is that they're native to the southwestern United States, but then somebody went and introduced them to Florida. What's that about? Barney says, isn't leprosy like the plague? Just penicillin and you're fine? I don't know. I don't know anything about leprosy. And I don't know anything about leprosy because I've never had to know anything about leprosy. I just found out today that armadillos are what spread leprosy, and red squirrels, but they really focused on the armadillo and not the red squirrel. Fucking squirrels, fancy rats. Skating blame again. I'm telling you, people love squirrels, and you shouldn't love squirrels. Squirrels suck. Squirrels are assholes. Florida sports betting. There's a big deal in Florida. Florida is one of them good Christian states like Texas here. You were late to the party on the sports betting. Losers. One more time. Your fucking churches and your congregations screwed you out of billions. There was a gold rush when legalized gambling first reared its ugly head about 5 years, and a whole bunch of states in the north and in the west of this country went, let's do gambling on phones. And guess what? Texas didn't. Florida didn't. Mississippi didn't. Mississippi needed it. Like Mississippi could have used the influx of tax dollars, but no. And it's been a couple of years, and degenerate gambler behavior has now been normalized in a great part of this country. And so, of course, Florida and Texas, we're all going to have legalized gambling at any minute. It's all going to change everything. So down in Florida, there's a group of people, good Christian church-going folks, who want to keep, the morality laws the way they are, which is the reason that we've never really had gambling or prostitution. Hey, I'm working on a prostitution app, and I'm telling you, you're going to be able to order prostitutes right on your phone. That better be legal soon. I mean, come on. Why just gambling? Weed better be legal. Well, weed is basically legal. So anyway, there's a group of people in Florida who are like, we don't want gambling. And like, Florida's like, gambling, DraftKings Arena, the city of DraftKings. That's basically what the Florida people, the legislature, the people who are set to make a whole bunch of money when this goes legal, just like in Texas. Just like there's a whole bunch of state congressmen and legislatures who, they know where that sports book is going to go as soon as this is all legalized. They know where the sports book is going to go, and they just happen to purchase the land right across the street where they're going to put a bar and a grill and a strip mall. I mean, that's the way these people make this money. So down in Florida, they're all getting ready, just like here in Texas. They're all getting ready. They're getting ready to make their move for this to pass in the state legislature. But down in Florida, there's a group of people saying no. And of course, unanimously, the state of Florida, the good Christian, good morally sound state of Florida said, nope, we're going to bring that shit in here. We're going to let 15-year-olds become degenerate gamblers with debts to bookies named Vito by the time they're 17, and that's just the American way. Personally, my problem with sports betting is twofold. One, don't know how to do it. Would love to learn how to do it. Probably would enjoy it, but I currently don't know how to do it. And two, it's ruined sports radio. It has ruined what I love about sports radio. Florida Online Sports Betting Challenge is denied overwhelmingly by the state's highest court. Of course they did. Of course they did. State's highest court, they're like, no, we're bringing this in, man. There's too much money on the table. Do you know how much money we've been missing out on the last 5 years? You know how like people in states, I wonder if people in states that do not have legalized sports betting on their phones, people in states like Texas, people in states like Florida, the southern, I'm just going to say it, the South, who, for some reason was against it. So people in those states, although I think, don't they have it in Georgia? I think they have it in Georgia. Anyway, people of those states, I wonder, are they at all confused by all the betting advertising and all the betting apps and all of these things that they see during any sporting event that they watch? Aren't they like, what? Why? Don't you wonder, what that's all about? It's because in every other state in this country, if you're 19 years old, that's all you do all day. You don't have a job anymore. You just start out with $100 and it's basically like day trading. It is so fucking weird, and I just think it's a problem. Maybe. I'm a great advocate for self-control and personal responsibility. I really am. Struggle with it in my own life, but I'm an advocate for it just as a policy in general. But I don't know. It bothers me. It bothers me because I think my kid could be a degenerate gambler. And I just don't want it exposed to him. Look, it's why Mark Cuban sold the Mavericks. This is the entire reason why Mark Cuban sold the Mavericks, because he's about to cash in big on legalized sports betting here in Texas. Anyway, Florida, they made one last-ditch effort to try and stop it, made its way all the way to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court was like, we're doing this. We're doing this. Everybody's going to be a degenerate gambler, and we're all going to make shit tons of money off of you people not being able to control yourself. And that is the essence of sports gambling. They know damn well that there is a contingent of American people who simply are just so easily separated from their money, and they are going to target them, and they are going to make all kinds of money. Is that right? No, it sucks, actually. Somebody purposefully exploiting an idiot is not cool. It's, you ought to leave the idiot alone. Is it legal? I guess. Is it the American way? Yeah. Exploiting the idiot, separating the fool and his money. That's what we do here. And you're either the guy doing the separating, or you're the guy going, hey, what happened to my money? Gambling. What's this? Kentucky. Oh, yeah. How about this? Speaking of gambling. Kentucky, University of Kentucky screwed some people bad. I love this. This is what I love about March Madness. First of all, there was all kinds. We're not going to get into all the shit that happened. There's a bunch of stuff, bunch of like near misses and upsets. But the biggest one was Kentucky and Oakland. Kentucky, obviously the highly seeded. I don't know what Kentucky is. Kentucky's not a number one, were they? I don't know. I'm so not into the NCAA this year. Kentucky was a 2, a 3, maybe. I don't know. I know that Oakland, which I've never heard of, Oakland College. Is this in Oakland, California? Like, probably not. It's probably like, no, Oakland County, Minnesota. Like, there's probably, I think Oakland. Maybe it is Oakland. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, this little college, a 14th seed, upset Kentucky yesterday, and most people had Kentucky going to the Final Four. At least a whole bunch of people did, and everybody's brackets are fucked. I think they said 95% of the brackets on the ESPN, bracket game thing are fucked because of Kentucky. That's all right. You do your Sweet 16 bracket again. Yeah, just once we get wait, are we at the Sweets? I don't even know where we are. I don't care. I don't care about college basketball this year. I should, and I don't really know why I'm not. Here's why. You know why I'm not? I'm not as up on college basketball, or at least this particular tournament. Okay, there you go. Chuckles says that Oakland is in Michigan. Yeah, I am familiar with Oakland County, Michigan, so that does make sense. What was I thinking? What was I just saying? I don't know. Stream of consciousness got interrupted by a fine contribution from Chuckles that I appreciated, and now we're moving on to something else. Kentucky, yeah, they screwed everybody's bracket, so there you go. They were not supposed to lose. I don't like this story. Micro apartments. There's a story about micro apartments. They're like, hey, micro apartments, they're turning into the next big thing. And I'm like, says who? Says who is saying it? Me. Who are you? The guy writing this article trying to gin up interest in micro apartments. Nobody wants a micro apartment. So there's this move afoot to bring back, so back during the Depression, this is like, can't be a good sign for the future of America. Whenever someone looks at the Depression and goes, how did they get through that? What did they do then that we could take and do today? Well, back in the days of the Depression and for years after, this sort of thing ended in the 1970s. But things called transient hotels and boarding buildings that weren't hotels, but they weren't like where you'd sign a lease and you'd live in the apartment for a year. No, it was just if you were in and out of work, moving around, trying to find a job, you could stay at one of these rooms. It was just a room. If you've ever seen the film The Blues Brothers, the Blues Brothers, John Belushi lives in one of these little closet rooms, and Carrie Fisher blows it up with a surface to air missile, and it's very exciting. But that's an example of what this is. So those were things that were created in the Depression era when men were moving around and looking for work and didn't stay any one place too long. They're bringing them back. They fell away in the 1970s when our roaring economy and the good old glory days of Ronald Reagan made it so everybody could have a McMansion in the suburbs, and nobody wanted to live in a 90 square foot room with a with a Murphy bed and a window next to a train track. Well, they're back. That's right. The micro apartment is coming back. Why? Because they've determined that the average American doesn't need all that room, and they are perfectly happy living in a 50 square foot. I don't even know how small they would be. They're tiny. Nobody wants that. What happened with tiny houses? What happened with that? Like remember everybody was crazy about tiny houses? And ironically, it was always like really obese people that were into like tiny houses. I love tiny houses. I'm like, your house can't be tiny. I say that from personal experience. I had one friend, who's my friend, and it was his mom and stuff, but she was very heavy, very large, and they moved here to Texas. They were from Chicago. They moved to Texas. It's about 5 years ago because of a tiny house. They wanted a tiny. I just always thought, gonna go on a diet, or I mean, that's really if you're gonna live in a tiny house. And I'm not kidding. We're talking like his mama was wheelchair at Walmart, motorized, that thing. That was his mom. I never met her, but I've, only seen her. That's tiny house. Anyway, they're doing that again with tiny apartments. Tiny apartments. I don't think there's going to be. All right. I'll click on it. I'm just trying to riff on it because I didn't want to spend much time. Oh, they even give us a picture of this bullshit place. Apparently these are in Seattle, the ones that we're going to be looking at. And they're like expensive. And by expensive, what I mean is like you would think a tiny apartment might cost you $100 a month or 150 or maybe 200, 250. I'd be willing to go. No, this is like in Seattle. It's a tiny apartment and it's like $600 or something. Hold on. I'll show you a picture of it. And then do you like when I make noises with the spit in my mouth? It's either hot or gross. I'm guessing gross. All right, here you go. Here's a stupid tiny apartment. All right, here. How big can I make this stupid tiny apartment picture? Oh, I can make it pretty good. All right, here we go. I want to decline that. So I'm going to tell you how much this costs. We'll let you look at it. Boom. There it is. All right. All right. Micro apartments. It says I don't want to. Okay. Micro apartments are back after nearly a century as a need for affordable housing soars. Yikes. All right. How much is this room? What's it? Okay. So this is she's got 180 square foot. It's filled. She's got an air mattress. A shared kitchen. You have to share a kitchen with other people. Okay, so who are the other people that I'm living with? Like, am I living with other people who live there because they can't afford a regular apartment? Or am I living with other people who are interesting and, they're just moving around and they don't want to sign a long-term, like, you know what I mean? It really does determine the kind of person that flocks to this thing. Because, I could see it very easily turning into like the worst neighborhood in town, just if you attract a certain group of people who are looking for really cheap apartments. The 180 square foot room has an air mattress where her partner, and their children. Oh my God, that's sad. It's $900 a month. $900. What? $900. No, this is not gonna look. You get those down to $300 a month, then maybe I could see put them on college campuses, for college kids or whatever. God, $900 a month to live in a tiny, tiny apartment modeled on the way transients lived in the late 30s. Ugh. Please don't sell me too hard on that bullshit. Hey, look at this. It's already 2:30. Look how long we're going. This show. My stream. I told you my stream is feeling good today. Boom, 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 boom. What do we got? Are we into fun stuff yet? Yeah, we are. We're into fun stuff. Okay, so let's talk about this. Rotten Tomatoes. I'm not a big fan of Rotten Tomatoes. Sometimes, sometimes I agree. Sometimes I disagree. But I certainly don't set my opinion of somebody's creation based on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. It's, if you're making an argument for something, I've used Rotten Tomatoes when making it. No, it's good. It's got this on, I've done that, but I don't really let it influence me. But anyway, Rotten Tomatoes has released two things according to their website. They are proclaiming or declaring, or however you want to do it. They are declaring the perfect sci-fi film and the perfect horror film. Okay, so this is according to the ground zero of modern film evaluation, Rotten Tomatoes, with their fresh and not fresh or rotten score. Here's what they've done. So they the perfect sci-fi film. There are only two perfect sci-fi films. All right, so the first one they name is James Cameron's startlingly prescient 1984 sci-fi slasher, The Terminator. That's a good choice. That's because of its popularity at the box office. I think that a lot of people, when they are evaluating truly great sci-fi films, they might overlook The Terminator because it was so popular, because it's sort of isn't it always our inclination to go and find something that isn't quite as mainstream and be like, no, well, this actually, the best one is something that you've never heard of. It's a French sci-fi film from the early 70s. It's like that. We all do that. So but I agree, man. I think Terminator is a great film. It's a great film. Sci-fi was not taken seriously at the time the Terminator came out. That's too bad. Another great, in my opinion, sci-fi film that suffers from that is Blade Runner. The original Blade Runner was an incredible film. Sci-fi. All right, James Cameron's 1984 The Terminator has been judged by Rotten Tomatoes to be one of only two perfect sci-fi films. The second one is Andrei Tarkovsky's 1979 sci-fi thriller Stalker. I have no idea. I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is. Stalker. 1979. 1979. I remember a movie called Looker. Right. Gen X dudes will remember Looker. Looker. I'm not going to talk about Stalker. I don't know anything about Stalker. It's a stream of consciousness. So I'm going to spend a couple minutes talking about what I remember about Looker. Looker was, here's why I saw Looker, and here's why every Gen X boy remembers Looker. If you had cable in the 1980s and maybe one of the pay movie channels or whatever, HBO, there was only so many films that were available. And so they played those films over and over and over again. Looker was one of those films. Looker, now, if you don't remember, why does that sound familiar? Looker was the movie where Susan Day from the Partridge Family got naked. That's right. That's why 11-year-old me remembers Looker. Lori Partridge is going to get naked. And what do I got to stay up? It starts at 3:35 on HBO, 3:35 in the morning. I got to stay awake till 3:35 in the morning if I want to see Lori Partridge naked. We did those things. That's who we were as a people, as a generation. You know why? Because we needed to celebrate whatever good the world was producing. Why? Because of the Cold War. I know. I keep talking about it. I'm watching that stupid Netflix thing on the Cold War, and it's just completely informed everything about me and my generation. Looker. Looker was good. I've never heard of Stalker. They say Stalker is the perfect sci-fi film, but I think Looker is a better sci-fi film. All right, so now we want to look at Looker, don't we? Yeah, we do. I'm advocating for Looker. I don't know why. What was it called, Looker? Am I getting it wrong? Hold on, let's see. Looker, movie, trailer. That even exists. I think this is it. Wait, is this it? All right, let's check it out. All right, let's see if I remember. Because I'm not sure it's the one where it's naked. I might be conflating two films. Okay, we're gonna skip that. We'll make this big. All right, here we go. All right, let's watch Looker. Here you go. A little something for my Gen X people. Tell me if you remember this movie.
Want it. You probably think I'm beautiful, Dr. Roberts, but I'm not.
I want it.
My nose is 0.2 millimeters too narrow, and my cheekbones are 0.4 millimeters too high.
I want it too.
I do television commercials. They want a certain look.
I did surgery on several girls a few months back, commercial actresses, and there have been some suicides.
You don't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah. I remember it now.
This is more than commercials.
Your chance, Susan Day. Lori Partridge.
They're killing all the girls that are perfect.
DMI measured some girls for possible surgery. We were conducting an experiment.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Cindy.
Lori Partridge.
I'm the perfect female type, 18 to 25.
Here you see a typical computer model being made.
Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm the perfect female type, 18 to 25.
All right, I don't know what that's all about, but that's Looker. That's Looker. I liked that movie when I was little. Still, I just watched it and I still don't remember it fully, but I do remember seeing Susan Day naked. I knew that was all I knew about them. Didn't know it was about plastic surgery. I just like, what do I know about that movie? Why did it stick in my brain? Oh yeah, Susan Day, Lori Partridge naked. All right, horror movies. Let's move on to horror because those are the two sci-fi films that Rotten Tomatoes has declared the best. Stalker from 1979 and The Terminator from 1984. The scary movies. What the hell? Oh, do they only do the one perfect one for scary movies? Is that it? Okay, they just got one. The scariest movie, the perfect horror film, they say is out, or One Cut of the Dead by 2019. Shit. Okay, this segment has just tanked itself. Somebody named Shinichiro Ueda in 2009 made a comedic zombie mockumentary called One Cut of the Dead. And Rotten Tomatoes says that's perfect. All right, good for them. They're perfect. What the heck is happening? Okay. Sorry. So I had to reboot. I got to not reboot, but refresh. Okay. So here, let's do this. Let's talk about scary movies. Let's watch a trailer. Okay. I don't like scary movies. I mean, when someone typically says, I don't like scary movies, it's like because they're afraid of them. That's not why I don't like scary movies. Most of the time I don't like scary movies because they're dumb. Yeah, there's some scary shit, but they're dumb. It's like, this is a stupid story. This story would totally never. So that's typically my problem. I think that the best scary movie ever made is The Shining. I would then maybe argue that Amityville Horror is another one that freaks me out. But The Shining I think is my all-time favorite. Kubrick, right? I love Kubrick. But there's a movie that is being released today that I don't get caught up or swept up in the whole hype train of things. And this movie isn't really being hyped all that much, but somebody who I really respect as a film guy tweeted about this yesterday, last night. And I started to learn about it. I started to read about it. And, it's rare for me to want to go to a movie, for there to be a film where I'm like, I want to see that in a theater. I think I want to go see that in a theater. And it's rare for me. It's very rare for that movie to almost ever be a horror film, because horror films just, I'll watch it and I can watch that in my house like 3 months after it's in theaters. It'll be fine. It'll be on Netflix or something. But there is a new horror film that is being released today. It's in theaters today, and it is getting some crazy reviews. Like legitimate film reviewers are like, this is a different kind of horror movie. And I think that if you've moved away from the horror genre because of the reductive nature of it, everything's zombies and that and all that kind of shit. It's like, this might be the film that can bring you back into that genre. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this. There's nobody famous in it, at least that I can tell. It doesn't appear that there's anybody famous in it, and it's low budget. We'll make it big. It's called Late Night with the Devil. Have you heard about this film? Have you heard about this movie, Late Night with the Devil? So here's the premise. I'll give you the premise. There is a struggling, it's set in 1977, okay? Takes place in the year 1977 when late night TV was very important and was a big moneymaker. And it concerns a late night talk show that is struggling. It is on the verge of being canceled. And they are trying to do whatever they can to get the biggest audience possible. So one of the stunts that they do on this late night talk show is they interview a possessed girl. A little girl who is possessed, like, think about The Exorcist, a little girl who's possessed, a teenage girl who's possessed by the devil, and they put her on live TV and they interview her. And the entire film takes place. It takes place over the course of this show. It's presented as another one of these found footage kind of things, that whole genre, like, oh, we found this is found footage. It's just the show. We're watching this late night television show from 1977 where the devil emerged on live TV, and it looks really interesting. So let's watch it. Okay. This is the trailer. Tell me what you think. I'm very excited about this. This is the trailer for Late Night with the Devil.
5, 4. Now, here's Mr. Midnight, Jack Darrow. Oh, good evening, night owls, and thank you for allowing me into your living rooms once again. Well, night owls, we've got a heck of a show in store for you tonight, and I'm very excited for you to see it all unfold before your very eyes. I really hope you love it. Gosh, I hope you love it. Please love it. Love it.
I'm trying to host a nationally syndicated talk show, and I'm trying to help you keep it on the air.
We all know how important it is to keep our sponsors and affiliates happy, but in my humble opinion, there is only one person who really matters in this whole darn crazy business. And that is you, our viewer.
You're meddling with things you don't understand.
Whoa! Now, as you know, here on Night Owls, we think it's very important to keep an open mind. Please welcome Dr. June Ross Mitchell and Lily, the young subject of the book, Conversations with the Devil.
I really don't think it's a good idea, Jack. She's becoming more unpredictable.
That's a good thing. That's why we still do live TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for a live television first.
as we attempt to commune with the devil.
Lily, can you hear me?
Good to see you again, Jack.
Lily, return to me.
This isn't about ratings anymore.
No one's going anywhere.
How could you let it happen, Jack? How could you let it happen?
Please be warned, anyone with young children in the room.
Go to commercial! Go to a commercial!
What you're about to see
You okay, Jack?
is profoundly disturbing and shocking.
You get out there, Mr. Midnight, and you knock him dead.
Holy crap! Does that movie check every box for me? Every box for me. I don't like stupid horror films, but I love exposés of media. So it's got that. When the one review said it's Rosemary's Baby meets Network, I was like, I am all in, because those are two of my favorite movies. Rosemary's Baby is easily a top 3 favorite scary movie of all time. So you're in Network, Patty Chayefsky. Oh my God, I love Network. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. I love Network. You're telling me that the comp for this movie, Late Night with the Devil, is Rosemary's Baby meets Network? I am in. I'm very excited. That looks good. All right. I'd never heard of it. I had never heard of it before today. All right. So here's a little something for my cowboy friends. So I got a friend that I'm in this stupid chat group with. No shit. I don't know what can I say and what can I say without, getting anybody in trouble. But so I got a friend. He's associated with a sports agent. He's associated with a sports agent. He's in that world. Okay. And he broke to us in the chat room last night a story that I thought I was going to wake up and it was going to be already a thing. Let's see. Hold on. Let me just see if it has become a thing while we're on the air here. Because a number of us in this chat group were really upset about this. Hold on. Hold on. Let me just make sure. I want to make sure that it didn't already happen while we were on the air. All right. Okay. Yeah, no, never mind. Okay. No, it has. Okay, so it hasn't happened. So I don't know. We were told that it was probably going to be announced today, but it hasn't happened yet. But what it concerns is a free agent or a trade between the Dallas Cowboys and the Chicago Bears. That was, and by the way, this person who mentioned it in this chat, he's not a member of the media. He's a member of the sports infrastructure. He's he's a legit guy. And he said that this was going to happen last night. And the reason he brought it up is because he knows that I'm a Cowboy fan. And he also knows that I'm a fan of this person. And he's like, hey, it looks like the Cowboys are going to deal for. And I want to tell you a little bit about this person because I think this is a real steal for the Dallas Cowboys if it happens. But it concerns Bears running back Khalil Herbert. It looks like the Cowboys are negotiating and the Bears want to trade. We're trying to pick something up. Looks like it's going to be for a 4th, is what he said. He said 2024 or 2024 4th rounder. The Cowboys can acquire Khalil Herbert from the Chicago Bears. He was our lead running back last year on a team that was top 5 in rushing for most of the season. Now, of course, that had to do with our quarterback who gained 1,000 yards on his own. But Khalil Herbert was a great back. He was a terrific young back. He's a very exciting back. He runs so hard, man. And when he gets in the open field, he's got moves. We love him. We love Khalil Herbert because I think we got him in the 4th round and didn't think much of him. And then all of a sudden he's our starting tailback. You know, the Bears believed so much in him after 1 year that we allowed David Montgomery to walk to Detroit. And David Montgomery's having a great, run in Detroit. He was great last year. So Khalil Herbert, we thought when we got Swift, when the Bears acquired DeAndre Swift, we're all licking our chops at the idea of DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert. But I don't know, it looks like it's possible that the Cowboys are trying to acquire the services of one Khalil Herbert. And I'm telling for my Cowboy fans, I'm telling you, man, I'm all for it. I know me and my kid, Mace would be really happy because Mason thinks he's better than, who was it, Pollard? He's like, he's better than him. I'm like, yeah, but the league doesn't know that. He's like, yeah, but they don't watch him. I go, no, I know. They don't. Nobody watched the Bears. We were a regional team. We're a terrible team, all that stuff. So nobody really got to know anything about anything other than the highlights that they saw of Justin Fields breaking off one for like 80 yards in a busted play. But here, I wanted for my Cowboy friends who might be watching this, here, I'm going to show you a little bit of the Khalil Herbert. Just so you can see him. He's a terrific, terrific young man. And I am actually happy. I don't want him to go. I mean, I'm not happy that the Bears would trade him to the Cowboys because I want the backfield of Khalil Herbert and Swift. I think that is crazy good backfield. But if there's no room because we have Roschon Johnson, University of Texas, who we drafted last year, we got him coming and we like him as well. And he's a more bigger pounding back than Khalil. Khalil's more of a, wait, where'd he go? That's the kind of back Khalil Herbert is. Adam says Roschon can be special, and we love that. That's great. I hope so. I loved what I seen. Talk about a tough runner. But he couldn't beat out Khalil last year. Khalil was just by far. The Bears brought in Deontay Foreman, some journeyman running back who had a pretty good year the year before, I think, with Jacksonville. They brought him in as a free agent, and that dude couldn't get on the field because of Khalil and Roschon. He had a good year. So here's just a little bit of Khalil Herbert for you Cowboy fans to get you excited. I don't want to lose him, but man, it's awesome that if I do have to lose him, I can still watch him every week and still root for him. There you go. Khalil Herbert.
Him, they make the trade for DJ Moore, and he changes that quick.
Meanwhile, set up a screen to Herbert. Gets a block, makes a cut, breaks a tackle. Herbert across the 25 and a first down for the Bears. Out to about the 29. 319. On second down, Fields. A lot of time. Herbert makes the catch, turns around, racing to the 45. 319. Herbert gets a seal. Herbert runs across the 15 and Fields to Herbert in for 2.
Maybe that's something that could maybe give this offense a little bit of a spark.
Blitzer comes, trying to beat it with a screen. Herbert scoots to the outside. Khalil Herbert crosses the 40. Jamel.
There goes Herbert, and he's got room with one man back, and Turner. 15.
Just wanted to, my Cowboy fans, to let you know that it does kind of suck because I don't want to lose them. I like him in the backfield, but I know my kid's excited. My kid's as diehard a Cowboy fan as it gets, and so I told him this morning, and he's like, "That would be awesome." I'm like, "Yeah." He's one of those guys who will become the tailback for the Dallas Cowboys, and simply because he's now the tailback for the Dallas Cowboys, he'll become a star. He'll become a star, and you'll lose him in free agency in a year or two or something like that. I don't know, but he's good. He's good. And Adam says running back is so weird. I hope we don't trade a 4th, 5th, or higher. I'm fine. You're right about that. You're absolutely right, man. The greatest decline of a position in the NFL has got to be the running back position. It is absurd how the running back is the Bic lighter of the NFL. And the running back used to be the second most important position on the field. My introduction to football was who's your quarterback, who's your running back. And it was the era of Peyton and Dorsett and Franco and who's got on it. You go, why can't I think of? Because I'm getting old. That's why I can't think of the Oilers. Earl Campbell. Why? I mean, it was that era. And that era went on all the way till probably about 15 years ago, when all of a sudden running backs, the number one leading rusher in the league is a 5th round pick out of Central Florida. Stuff like that started happening. So the value of running backs, why pay a running back after their rookie deal? Why go into the $100 million market with a running back after their rookie deal ends, when you can just draft the replacement in the 4th round and just run that son bitch into the ground? I'm reminded of Todd Gurley. Run that son of a bitch into the ground. There's a lot of, I feel bad for it. If you've got a kid and he's playing football and he's a running back, no. Tell him, son, learn another position, because the running back, nobody gives a shit about a running back. There are too many of them. They're a dime a dozen. And that's a real change for me watching football over the years, because the running back used to be the thing. Saquon was a thing. Who was the last running back that came out of the league that was, really coveted? Derrick Henry wasn't coveted, and look at him. He's coveted now because he's a special kind of back. I think it was Saquon, right? Is there anybody in the last couple of years? Josh Jacobs came out, but he was like he was in the top 10 or something. He wasn't a number. He wasn't a big, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Anyway, I hope that the Cowboys, if we lose Khalil Herbert, I hope it's to the Cowboys. Because I'd like to see, because Khalil Herbert is another one of these guys who's like really nice and sweet in interviews, and it's like you root for him because he wasn't thought to be much, and then all of a sudden the fans are like, hey, he's fucking good, man. And so I want to see him. I'd love to see him become a Dallas Cowboy if that's happening. Let me check this text chain. Maybe there's. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, but that's not about that. It's not about that. Never mind. It's about the Illini. It's about the NCAA. I gotta get out of these things. I'm in this text change with these people, and that's what it's mostly about. It's mostly about the NCAA tournament, and I'm not checking in. I don't have a bracket that's been, entered into some contest. All right, let's go through some things. What to watch this weekend, okay? So it's a weekend. We need stuff to watch. We started out the show. We were talking about Roadhouse. Roadhouse is new. It's on Amazon Prime. My plan for this weekend with the boy, I guess is we're going to get some pizza. We'll do pizza. We'll do pizza tomorrow night. And we're going to watch Roadhouse. It's going to be a good 3 hours of me and my... God! Can I just tell you how blessed... Look, a lot of shit in my life hasn't worked out perfectly. But the shit that has worked out has just been... I hit the lottery with a family. My family, a bunch of drunks, bunch of drunk, loud Irishmen and all. But I got a great family. They are the DNA that pulses through my body. I'm very proud of. They're good people. They're good, decent people. My mom, Grace mom. But my son, do you know how lucky I am to have a boy? I wouldn't know what to do with a daughter. Oh, that would be so awful. Oh, imagine this setup now, where my kid comes every other weekend. We spend time together and we get him on breaks and all that stuff. And I love it. I'm just a few miles away from where he is. I can see him whenever we want. We can do snapping drills. I have a great relationship with his mom and everything's wonderful. We're fine. I love that. But this weekend, I get to lay around, eat pizza in bed, which, can't do that with moms around. That's not like something they allow. I get to eat pizza in bed with my 14-year-old idiot son, and I say that not that my son is specifically an idiot, but 14-year-olds in general are idiots. I get to sit in bed with my idiot son and watch Roadhouse. We're just going to watch Roadhouse. I couldn't do that with a daughter. Couldn't do that. My God, what kind of shit would I have to... What would I have to watch if I had a 14-year-old daughter? Holy fuck. Are we watching The Notebook this weekend? Oh, no. Roadhouse. I got lucky, man. I got lucky. I got a boy. What am I supposed to do with like my boy? I'll go out. We're gonna spend all weekend snapping. All weekend we're gonna be doing. Been watching a lot of long snapping videos and tutorials online and stuff like that. Got a whole bunch of new things I'm gonna make them do. We're very excited. Couldn't do that with a daughter. That wouldn't be. What would I even do with a daughter? I have no idea. But I got a boy. All right, very lucky. So we're going to do that this weekend. So this weekend is going to be Roadhouse, but there are a number of other things too that are debuting that we should probably talk about. First of all, Roadhouse is getting good reviews. How crazy is this? It's getting really good reviews. People are like, "Oh my God, is it fun?" Chef and restaurateur. Oh, this is another thing that looks interesting. I don't know what this is on. Chef and restaurateur Jose Andres. I don't know who that is. That's that World Kitchen guy who does a lot of like good stuff with people who are in need. Whenever there's like a really bad, I mean, he's also figured out how to elevate himself in the process. But so what? I have no problem with that. You're gonna make yourself famous for being a guy that does needed and important things for desperate people. Okay, that's fine. If the trade-off is you get to be famous for that, good. I wish more people would do that. So he's got that World Kitchen thing. Apparently he's got a new show. Jose Andres is inviting actors Jamie Lee Curtis, Bryan Cranston, and O'Shea Jackson Jr. over for dinner in a new TV special. What's that? I don't know what that is. Anatomy of a Fall is on, is it Hulu? Hulu. Let's see here. Yeah, it's on Hulu on Friday. Anatomy of a Fall was a movie that was nominated for Best Picture, so that's now on Hulu this weekend. You can watch that. I mentioned Roadhouse. Doug Liman gives the 1989 cult classic Roadhouse a pulpy modern spin with Jake Gyllenhaal as a former UFC fighter hired as security for a seedy Florida Keys bar. Jessica Williams, the delightful Jessica Williams, I love her. Jessica Williams plays the owner of a roadhouse under siege from a crime syndicate that eventually brings in even more muscle. It's Conor McGregor. That's what. All right, what else do we got? It's from the guy who made Swingers. Do you know that? Doug Liman? I don't know why when I think of Swingers, I thought, didn't just Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau make that? Like, I just thought they were the directors. It's Doug Liman. Here's another one that I'm interested in. But this is on MGM Plus. And quite frankly, I have no more room. I will not be accepting any new entertainment distribution platforms today. Not accepting any new ones. I don't know what to do with the ones that I have. I have not been able to access the Apple TV because for some reason it's like, enter your code. And like, they don't accept the code. It's been going on for a while. Haven't even tried to do it in over a month because I don't have any desire to watch Apple TV at the moment. And it's like, so don't tell me about MGM Plus. Apparently this is on MGM Plus. I got to figure out a way to see this because I would really like to see this. Paul Simon gets an expansive 2-part documentary with In Restless Dreams, the music of Paul Simon. And here's why I want to see it. It's from Alex Gibney. Alex Gibney, the documentary filmmaker who has made every great film about an interesting... Gibney is the dude. He's terrific. So I want to see this. So I know going in what this is going to look like. After the first half premiered on March 17th on MGM Plus, part 2 lands on Sunday. In Restless Dreams, which premiered last fall at the Toronto Film Festival, it surveys the varied chapters of Paul Simon's career, including his many years as a duo with Art Garfunkel, the recording of his 1986 album Graceland, and the still unfolding and music-making life of the 82-year-old songwriter. Paul Simon's an interesting dude. New music to stream. I don't care about that. I'm streaming new music. I'm talking about we're looking for stuff to watch. Shakira's got new music. If you're still into Shakira. New shows. All right, new shows to stream. In a new special, James Beard winning chef and restaurateur Jose Andres invites actors Jamie Lee Curtis, Bryan Cranston, and O'Shea Jackson Jr. over for dinner. But first, they have to help him cook. The goal of the night isn't perfection, but to have fun. Dinner Party Diaries with Jose Andres dropped Tuesday on Prime. All right, screw that. First of all, I know that I got to watch Prime for Roadhouse. But I'm not watching. I'll watch Roadhouse on Prime, and I'll put up with their ridiculous commercials that they're now making us watch on Prime. I'll put up with it because I want to see Roadhouse, and it's worth it. It's not worth it. Just hate it. But I ain't watching this show. This sounds like an interesting show. You know when the show sounded interesting? When it was just Jose Andros doing a dinner party with all of these 3 celebrities. That's interesting. Can we film that? He's gonna make them cook. I don't want to watch them cook. There used to be a show. I think you can still find, and it's really interesting. And I suggest that if you like good conversations, that you seek this show out and try and watch it. It was called Dinner for Five. And it was on like the independent film channel for like 3 years. There was a couple of different seasons of it, I think. It was on for a while. Nobody watched it. Nobody knew what the hell it was. It was tucked away, channel 198 on your cables and whatever. Nobody cares. It's called Dinner for Five. Here's what it was. It was a great show. It's really interesting. Dinner for Five was a Jon Favreau show. You know Happy from the Marvel Universe? You know, dude from Swingers. Rudy's roommate from Rudy. Jon Favreau. He's great. He's a cornerstone of American culture for the last 30 years. He's a fun guy. Jon Favreau hosts a dinner party, and it's just him at a dinner table with like 10 of his celebrity friends. And it was always a cool mix of people. And you're not making them clean up or cook or anything. No, the show starts with them getting the first course. And through the course of the show, it's like, I guess it was an hour show. Throughout the course of the show, they're just eating a meal and they're talking about stuff. They're talking about movies. They're talking about people. They're telling stories. It's terrific. It's terrific. So that's what I had hoped this new Jose Andros show was. But now they're telling me that he's putting them to work. That's stupid. Now you're looking for a gimmick. Why? Because you don't think you're good enough at holding a conversation? That's it? Well, we can't just have them talk. That'll be boring. What they're saying is, no, Jose, they're saying you're boring. Your producer's like, you're boring. You got to make them do something or else people ain't going to watch this shit. Jon Favreau was interesting. He led the round table. He led the people. They're drinking. It was good. Dinner for Five. I don't know where you can find it, but it's out there somewhere. It was good. What else do we have? That's it. You know what? Roadhouse on Prime. I'd say you should watch that. And I highly suggest there on Netflix, the Cold War thing that I'm watching. That's really good. Also, we talked about this last week. We showed you the documentary, the trailer for the documentary Lionheart, which is a great new racing biography on Max, I think. Lionheart, is it? It's the Dan Whedon story. You know, the IndyCar driver who died, crashed at Las Vegas Speedway. And now his kids are like making their way up through the ranks of go-kart racing. And it just looks like a terrific documentary. It looks very sad, but it also looks pretty inspiring. And so there's that. That's called Lionheart. That's on HBO. The Cold War series on Netflix. And that's it. That's all I got for you. That's all I can suggest. Yeah, Jen, we're still doing it, baby. I got nowhere to go. I got to clean the house because the kid's coming, which is so weird. The last thing I should do is clean the house. Because the kid's just going to destroy everything. He's just going to, who had mud on their shoes? Oh, that's me. You know, it's just going to be that. It's going to be that for the next 3 days. But I love it. I love it. We're going to have fun. All right. You guys are the best. Remind you once again, if you want to tip the show, that would be incredible. We didn't get many tips this week. We didn't make really anything this week. I think it comes out to like, maybe I made like $3 a show. But hey, whatever. I do this out of love. And I do this for you. So if you want to drop a little something, that would be great. But no crazy pressure because, you know, I'm coming hard the last week of the month or whatever that is. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No, there's nothing else. All right, I love you guys. That's going to do it. That's the rant. I'm tired of talking. This stream of consciousness has just finished.